Chapter 724. Powerful Techniques, 2 Dead Dogs. Looks like I'll be able to have a feast of dog meat tonight. When Ling Hu said this, Ning Yu's expression darkened. From a certain perspective, the Dark Emperor and Furball could no longer be considered dogs. They were Ning Yu's brothers. Now that Ling Hu wanted to eat Ning Yu's brothers, Ning Yu would naturally not agree. Senior Silver-Winged Dragon, it's time to act. Although less than an hour had passed, Ning Yu could not allow the Dark Emperor and the others to be in danger. Even if the Silver-Winged Dragon and the others had not recovered to their peak, they had to act now. Fight. The Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast knew Ning Yu's temper. Moreover, they had recovered about 80% of their strength, so it was not a bad idea to act now. Shwa! Shwa! With a low shout, the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast charged out. Ha ha, good timing. Facing the 2 demonic beasts that were half a step into Manifestation Realm, Ling Hu and Ling Han exchanged a look, then faced the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast, one on the left and one on the right. Boom. 4 elites, 2 battlefields. A great battle broke out instantly. Although Ling Hu's cultivation was higher than the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast, the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast were not pushovers. Although they were at a disadvantage, the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast held on. At least, they would not lose in a short period of time. Ouyang Luan killed Tsun Takashi. Ning Yu was glad that the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast could hold on. Ning Yu did not expect the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns Beast to kill Ling Hu and Ling Han. As long as they could hold on for a few minutes, it would be enough. Don't worry, leave Tsun Takashi to me. Ouyang Luan heard Ning Yu's order and dashed out, appearing in front of Tsun Takashi in an instant. Ouyang Luan, you can't kill me. Do you want to provoke a war between the Imperial family and Danwu College? When Tsun Takashi saw Ouyang Luan appear in front of him in the blink of an eye, his pupils weakened and even his voice trembled. Reincarnate into a good body in your next life. You can only blame yourself for offending someone you shouldn't have. Ouyang Luan would certainly not dare to disobey Ning Yu. Furthermore, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill Tsun Takashi with his strength. Whoosh! While Ouyang Luan was killing Tsun Takashi with all his might, Ning Yu tore through the void and arrived beside the Dark Sovereign and Furball. Seeing that the Dark Emperor and the others were about to speak, Ning Yu stopped them and said in a solemn voice, "Don't speak. Go into the storage ring to recuperate first. I'll leave all of the holy chi that the flower bud has devoured until you've recovered to your peak state." Ning Yu was never stingy when dealing with his own people. Putting aside the holy chi produced by the flower bud, even if he had to abandon the flower bud to cure the Dark Emperor and Furball, Ning Yu would not even bat an eyelid. Xiao! Xiao! The Dark Emperor knew Ning Yu's character, so he did not stand on ceremony with Ning Yu. He grabbed Furball, turned into a shadow, and entered the storage ring. After making arrangements for the Dark Emperor and Furball, Ning Yu gripped the Red Demon's sword tightly with both hands. He first looked at Ouyang Luan's battlefield, then stomped on the ground and flew toward the other side of the battlefield. It was only a matter of time before Ouyang Luan killed Tsun Takashi. Ning Yu definitely did not want to waste time with him. The Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast were much more dangerous. In just a few minutes, the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast had already shown signs of weakness. If there were no more forces to join the battle, the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horned Beast would be defeated sooner or later. Ning Yu, let me. The reason why Mu Feng did not make a move earlier was because he was preparing his ultimate move. When Ning Yu made his move, he had just finished preparing his ultimate move. You go help the Twin-Horned Beast, I'll help the Silver-Winged Dragon. Ning Yu did not know that Mu Feng was preparing his ultimate move. After he said this, he immediately joined the Silver-Winged Dragon's battlefield. The martial artist fighting the Silver-Winged Dragon was Ling Hu. At this time, Ling Hu was suppressing the silver-winged dragon in all aspects, suppressing it until it could not breathe. Whoosh! Just as the silver-winged dragon was about to collapse, Ningyu suddenly joined the battle. Ningyu, this old dog is stronger, already infinitely close to the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Be careful. Ningyu's participation in the battle allowed the silver-winged dragon to breathe a sigh of relief. However, the silver-winged dragon did not dare to be careless. After all, Ling Hu's cultivation was at the peak of the early stage of the manifestation realm, only a step away from the middle stage of the manifestation realm. In this state, Ling Hu could even fight a middle-stage martial artist for hundreds of rounds without being defeated. Silver-winged dragon, let me sit on your back. Ningyu's words were simple and clear, without the slightest hesitation. Come up. Although the silver-winged dragon did not know what Ningyu was planning, it knew that Ningyu must have his reasons for doing this. Moreover, Ningyu was holding a royal-grade flying sword in his hand. And this royal-grade flying sword would be the key to killing Ling Hu. Ningyu did not hesitate, both feet stepped on the ground, and in an instant, swept onto the back of the silver-winged dragon. Buzz buzz! Then, the silver-winged dragon tore through the void, directly disappearing. Hee, competing with me in the art of space? You're still too inexperienced. The disappearance of Ningyu and the silver-winged dragon did not make Ling Hu too worried. Ling Hu's hands reached deep into his clothes, and took out a jade bottle with green liquid. Crack! The jade bottle shattered, and Ling Hu smeared the liquid in the bottle on his eyelid. Blood God's palm. The first thing Ling Hu did when he opened his eyes was to form a seal with both hands, and sent out a shocking palm print. Poochie! The palm print had only traveled 3 meters when it seemed to have collided with something, and dark red blood splattered in midair. Under the vision of the spiritual liquid, you have nowhere to hide. Ling Hu let out a sinister laugh as he sent out another palm strike. Every time Ling Hu sent out a palm, there would be a spurt of dark red blood spurting out from the void. After a few palm strikes, the void in the area was almost dyed red with blood. Ha ha! Ling Hu was very satisfied with his palm print. He threw his head back and laughed. Ningyu, I thought you were powerful. Who would have thought that you're just a wax figure with a silver spear? Nice to look at but useless. Is that so? However, just as Ling Hu's laughter faded, his pupils constricted, and he quickly turned his head around. Buzz buzz! Behind Ling Hu, a figure slowly appeared. This figure was slightly thin, and in his hand was a blood-red flying sword. On the body of the sword there was a violent fluctuation of yuan qi. Impossible! How could you hide from my spiritual liquid? Looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Ling Hu's mouth was slightly open, and his face was full of confusion. In his eyes, which were smeared with the spiritual liquid, he did not see Ningyu appear behind him. In other words, Ningyu had hidden from the detection of the spiritual liquid. I forgot to tell you that my attainments in aura concealment are much greater than my attainments in spatial techniques, said Ningyu indifferently. Wait, why are there no injuries on your body then? Ling Hu still could not believe his eyes, and he pointed at the blood mist in the void and shouted. Chapter 725. The same way vroom vroom. In midair, a large creature broke through the blood mist and gradually emerged. This large creature was covered in blood. Even its fur was dyed red. Silver-winged dragon. Ling Hu knew the true identity of this large creature. It was the silver-winged dragon that he was battling. The silver-winged dragon's pitiful state indicated that all his attacks had landed on the silver-winged dragon and not on Ningyu. Ling Hu, in order to fool you, the silver-winged dragon risked being killed by you to buy time for me. Your death is not in vain. Ningyu held the red magic sword in his hand and dashed out. No, Ningyu, you cannot kill me. Looking at the approaching Ningyu and the blood-red flying sword in Ningyu's hand, Ling Hu's pupils constricted as he screamed. Poochie! However, the moment Ling Hu shouted, he let out a hysterical scream. Ningyu held the red magic sword in his hand and pierced Ling Hu's heart. With his heart pierced, Ling Hu only struggled for a moment before he stopped breathing. Red magic, you know what to do. To prevent any unforeseen circumstances, Ningyu looked at the red magic sword in his hand and tossed it away. Swoosh! The red magic sword seemed to understand Ningyu's words. It first nodded at Ningyu like a human before it flashed and pierced Ling Hu's heart again. This time, the red magic sword demonstrated its powerful devouring ability. In the blink of an eye, Ling Hu was reduced to a skeleton like Chong Kuan not long ago. Hiss! Seeing Ling Hu's pitiful state, the surrounding elders gasped and started discussing. Even Ling Hu from the Blood God Temple was sucked dry. Chong Kuan's death was not unjust. Chong Kuan asked for it. Luckily we relied on Ningyu long ago. Otherwise we would have ended up like Chong Kuan and Ling Hu. That's right. This might be the best decision we've made recently. The crowd's discussion did not cause Ningyu to stop for even a second. Ningyu turned his head to look at Ouyang Luan's battlefield, and he couldn't help but frown. Logically speaking, if Ouyang Luan wanted to kill Tsun Takashi, it would not be difficult at all. But after so long, Ouyang Luan still had not taken down Tsun Takashi. Humph! Ningyu coldly snorted and sent a soul message to Ouyang Luan. I'll give you 3 more minutes. If you can't kill Tsun Takashi in 3 minutes, the consequences will be the same as Ling Hu. After saying this, Ningyu ignored Ouyang Luan and joined the battle on Mu Feng's side. Damn it! Ouyang Luan's complexion turned ugly when he heard Ningyu's cold words. The reason why he did not use his full strength to kill Tsun Takashi was because he wanted to preserve some holy chi. But now, Ningyu had seen through it. Ouyang Luan had no choice but to swallow the only jade bottle he had left. Voila! As soon as the jade bottle entered his stomach, Ouyang Luan's body exuded a powerful energy wave. What a waste of resources, forcing me to kill Tsun Takashi in 3 minutes. Ouyang Luan did not dare to show his displeasure to Ningyu, so he could only vent his anger on Tsun Takashi. This time, Tsun Takashi was doomed. He had been suppressed by Ouyang Luan in the first place, and now that Ouyang Luan's strength had increased, it was already certain that he would be killed. Hong Long. Ling Han's strength was slightly stronger than Ling Hu's. If there was a thin layer of paper between Ling Hu and the middle stage of the creation tier, then the gap between Ling Han and the middle stage of the creation tier was only a thin membrane. In other words, if Ling Han wanted to, he could even break through to the middle stage of the creation tier on the spot. Ha ha, you 2 pieces of trash want to kill me? I have to say you 2 are thinking too much. Ling Han threw out a punch and laughed madly. Ling Han, it's not that we're thinking too much, but you're thinking too much. Just as Ling Han was about to say something, Ningyu sped over from afar and said, if you continue to be stubborn, you'll end up like Ling Hu. Ling Hu? Hearing this, Ling Han raised an eyebrow and hurriedly shifted his gaze to the other side. Seeing that Ling Hu was only left with a skeleton, Ling Han's expression instantly darkened, and all color drained from his face. If the 2 horned beasts and Headmaster Mu are no match for you, and with me on your side, what do you think your chances of winning are? Ningyu continued, if you know what's good for you, surrender as soon as possible. That way, you'll still have a chance of survival. Otherwise, I'll let you know what cruelty is. Very well. At this moment, Ling Han suddenly calmed down, so calm that it was a little scary. There was no joy or sorrow on his face, as if Ling Hu's death had nothing to do with him. He said calmly, I originally didn't want to be so cruel, but since you 2 insist on forcing me, it looks like I have no other choice. Shwa. As the last word fell, Ling Han flicked his sleeve, and a white alchemical pill instantly appeared in his hand. Ling Han did not hesitate, and directly put the alchemical pill into his mouth, and chewed. Pung, pung, pung. As the alchemical pill entered his stomach, Ling Han felt as if he had been struck by something, and several muffled sounds came from his body. not good, quickly stop him. Ling Han's condition caused Ning Yu's expression to change greatly, and he hurriedly said, Ling Han wants to advance to the middle stage of creation tier. No matter what, we can't let him succeed. Otherwise, the consequences will be unthinkable. Pill Spirit Palm. Mu Feng's eyes shone brightly, and he gathered his spiritual power and origin chi on his wrist, and shot out a palm strike. Roar. The two-horned beasts did not just sit and wait for death. He raised his head and roared, and instantly, an earth-shattering sound rang out, its penetrating power extremely loud. Palm of life and death. As for Ning Yu, he did not remain idle, either. His wrist quickly formed a seal, and a blood-red palm print appeared. On the other side, old ancestor Jiumo saw Ling Han's actions, and shouted loudly, Go, we must stop Ling Han. The numerous elders of Danwu College saw old ancestor Jiumo make a move, and could only follow closely behind, joining the battle. With the addition of so many people, Ling Han was completely suppressed. Pooh! In fact, Ling Han could not withstand the pressure of the numerous techniques and auras, and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Blood sacrifice technique. Ling Han naturally would not foolishly wait for death. He forcibly forced out a few drops of blood essence, and his hands grabbed at the air, and in the blink of an eye, shot out a palm print. Scattering wave palm. Voila! As Ling Han shouted, the first palm print covered the blood essence that he had forced out and attacked the others. However, after this palm print absorbed the blood essence, it split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 5 in a short few seconds. The first palm print had become a total of several dozen. The target of each palm print was very clear, and they were all aimed at an elder of Danwu College. Pu, even though the palm print had split into several dozen, its might could not be underestimated. None of the elders of Danwu College, including old ancestor Jiumo, could dodge the palm print, and all of them were struck in the chest. Chapter 726. Strive to be a deserter rumble. Ling Han had just left when the void he was in was bombarded by the techniques of Ning Yu and the others, and a series of explosions erupted. Kacha! At the same time, the void on the other side suddenly split open and a figure walked out. The figure seemed slow, but in an instant it arrived in front of Ning Yu. Sensing the powerful aura emanating from Ling Han, Ning Yu's heart sank to the bottom. Middle stage of the blessed realm. Indeed, just as Ling Han had said, he had advanced to the middle stage of the creation tier. There was a huge difference between the middle stage of the creation realm and the early stage of the creation realm. It could be said that after advancing to the middle stage of the creation tier, Ling Han's battle prowess had at least doubled, or even more. The last time Ning Yu had killed the black-robed cultivator in the middle stage of Fate tier, he had relied on the Emperor tier aura that had erupted from the Red Demon's sword when it had advanced to Emperor tier. This time, if he wanted to kill Ling Han in the middle stage of Fate tier, it would be even more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Say something, aren't you arrogant? Why aren't you talking? Ling Han touched his forehead and made a pose that he thought was very handsome. He said, I've said before that the Blood God Palace won't kill innocent people. How about this, I'll give you a chance to live. At this point, Ling Han's eyes turned, as if he was thinking about what kind of opportunity he should give Ning Yu. Suddenly, the corners of Ling Han's lips curled up into a sinister smile, and he said, Kneel down, kowtow a few times, then lie down like a dog and walk one round around Danwu College. If you do that, I can consider sparing your dog life. Puh. Ling Han's mocking words were like a slap to his face, causing him to be on the verge of exploding with rage. He was already so arrogant after advancing to the middle stage of the creation realm. What would happen if he advanced to the late stage of the creation realm and advanced to the supremacy realm? Seeing that Ning Yu didn't answer him, Ling Han immediately rose from the ground and charged straight at Ning Yu. Yo, you're not willing, right? Whoosh. However, just as Ling Han was about to reach Ning Yu's side, he suddenly changed his direction and charged towards the twin-horned beast. Seeing Ling Han charge towards it, the twin-horned beast's expression changed drastically, and it hurriedly retreated. However, Ling Han, who had advanced to the middle stage of the creation tier, was clearly much faster than before. The twin-horned beast was only a demonic beast half a step into the manifestation state. Naturally, it would not be able to escape his claws. Crack! In the next instant, a clear voice rang out in the area. Ah! Immediately after, the twin-horned beast let out a hysterical scream. The two horns, which had already been injured in the first place, were struck by Ling Han again, and directly broke into two halves. Damn it! Ningyu clenched his fists tightly when he saw the miserable state of the twin-horned beast, trying to think of a countermeasure. However, just as Ningyu was thinking of countermeasures, Ling Han attacked again. This time, Ling Han's target was not the two-horned beasts, but Mu Feng. Ling Han also knew that Ningyu was the most difficult to deal with, so he decided to deal with the twin-horned beast and Mu Feng first. Finally, he would compete with Ningyu. Ling Han's idea gave Ningyu plenty of time to think. If Ling Han killed Ningyu right from the start, then Ningyu would definitely not be able to hold on for long. His ending would definitely be even more miserable than the twin-horned beast. Crack! At first, Mu Feng still wanted to block, but Ling Han did not give him the chance. Mu Feng did not even see how Ling Han had attacked. His knees were kicked and he knelt on the ground. Ningyu, how was it? Was it very exciting? Ling Han asked sinisterly after heavily injuring the twin-horned beast and Mu Feng. Very exciting, indeed very exciting. Ningyu took a deep breath and said calmly, "If you think you can kill me like this, I can tell you that you are too naive." Ah! Ling Han looked as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He threw his head back and laughed loudly. Then, his tone changed and he said coldly, "Just because of what you said, I will kill you, and then cut off the flesh on your body piece by piece. I will let you have a good time. If you want to kill Ningyu, you must first pass through me." At this moment, a figure approached from afar, and in the blink of an eye, arrived beside Ningyu. I was wondering who it was. So it is the ancestor of the imperial family, Oyanglun. Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared, Ling Han smiled calmly and said, "Don't worry, I will satisfy your request." As the word request fell, Ling Han's body gradually disappeared, merging into the void. After 0.1 second, Ling Han appeared on Oyanglun's left. Pung! Ling Han's attack was extremely fast. Oyanglun did not even have time to react before he was hit in the shoulder, and his body fell straight back. At first, Oyanglun's domineering appearance gave the elders of Danwu College a misconception. After all, Mu Feng and the two horned beasts had been defeated, and Oyanglun dared to challenge Ling Han, so he most likely had some ability. Who would have thought that Oyanglun would be defeated in one move, and completely defeated? An embroidered pillow that looks good but is useless. Ling Han curled his lips, turned around to look at Ningyu and said, "There is a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it, and there is no door to hell, yet you insist on barging in. Looks like I have to make you pay the price. Kneel down like a dog. Wait, don't pretend. Actually, I'm not afraid of you." Ningyu waved his hand, interrupting Ling Han's words, and said calmly, "Your cultivation level is only slightly higher than mine. In other aspects there is no difference between us." No difference? Ling Han did not get angry, and instead smiled evilly and said, "You are indeed very arrogant. It's not that I'm arrogant, but you really don't have the ability." Ningyu curled his lips and said, "Do you dare to exchange a palm strike with me? Are you sure you want to exchange a palm strike with me?" Ling Han did not know what he was captivated by. He pondered for a moment, and then agreed to Ningyu's strange request. Life and death palm. Ling Han had just agreed to Ningyu's request when Ningyu flipped his wrist, and a violent fluctuation of origin chi was instantly pushed out. F*CK. As expected, you have some skill, no wonder you want to exchange a palm strike with me. Feeling the origin chi contained in Ningyu's palm, Ling Han's heart became a little heavy. Because he discovered that the origin chi in Ningyu's palm was enough to match an ordinary half-step creation tier, or even an early-stage creation tier martial artist. Although Ling Han's heart was a little heavy, that was all. He did not believe that Ningyu could contend against him. Blood God's palm. Just when Ningyu was 20 centimeters away from Ling Han's right fist turned into a palm, and directly pushed out. Ling Han was also afraid that Ningyu would play some kind of trick, so he used 100% of his strength in this palm strike. In Ling Han's opinion, a palm strike with all his strength could even kill an early-stage creation tier martial artist, not to mention Ningyu. Chi. Because the palm strike was fast, the friction between Ling Han's palm and the void created a chi sound. Ningyu actually dared to exchange a palm strike with Ling Han. Could it be that he has some trump card? I'm not sure, maybe he has a trump card. Trump card my ass. According to my estimation, Ningyu will definitely be killed. In the crowd, an elder at the peak stage of Yin-Yang tier shouted in a low voice, "We can't wait for death like idiots. We'd better leave the Forbidden Land, leave Danwu College, leave the capital, run as far as we can. Yes, let's go quickly. It'll be too late if we're late, we can't die without knowing why." Voila! Chapter 727. Pill Cavern Key. Chapter 727. Pill Cavern, I'll see who dares to leave. Seeing that the elders wanted to leave the forbidden area, Mu Feng immediately shouted, "This is a moment of life and death for Danwu College. If anyone dares to leave, don't blame me for being impolite." Shua. The elders originally planned to leave, but after hearing Mu Feng's shout, they could only stay where they were. Chang Wei and Chang Kuan were already killed, and now Mu Feng was the strongest person in Danwu College. Of course, he was the strongest person apart from Ningyu. These elders' roots were in Danwu College, so leaving now was indeed the most unwise choice. But at this moment, not far away, Ningyu and Ling Han's palms touched. The two palms collided with a muffled sound. Poochie. Then, Ningyu felt a sweetness in his throat, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Ningyu, I thought you'd have some trump card if you took the initiative to exchange palms with me. So it's the same silver spear and wax head, pretty but useless." Seeing Ningyu's miserable state, Ling Han laughed sinisterly. "Is that so?" Ningyu used his other hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, and revealed a sinister smile. For some reason, seeing Ningyu's smile, Ling Han's heart skipped a beat, and he faintly felt that something was wrong. Pretentious. Although he was a little worried, Ling Han didn't show it. He said coldly, "Since you refuse to come to your senses, I've decided to tear you into pieces." As soon as the word pieces fell, Ling Han's wrist suddenly exerted force, and an extremely powerful wave of origin chi gushed out from his palm and entered Ningyu's palm. Pu. Whenever origin chi entered Ningyu's palm, Ningyu would spit out a mouthful of blood. In a short few seconds, a total of a dozen waves of origin chi gushed out from Ling Han's palm. In other words, Ningyu spat out a total of a dozen mouthfuls of blood. Fortunately, Ningyu's physique wasn't weak, or else the dozen mouthfuls of blood would be enough to weaken him. Is that enough? As if the dozen mouthfuls of blood on the ground did not belong to Ningyu, Ningyu still let out a chilling voice. "Not enough. No you." Ling Han stopped subconsciously when he heard Ningyu's words. However, Ling Han quickly came to his senses. He raised his head and looked at the ferocious Ningyu. His pupils constricted and his face was filled with disbelief. "It's my turn now." Ningyu took a deep breath and exerted some force in his palm. Shio! In the next instant, a small branch shot out from Ningyu's sleeves and charged toward Ling Han's palm at an astonishing speed. The branch was plain and ordinary. The only difference was that there was a flower bud at its end. Whoosh! The speed of the tree branch was extremely fast. Before Ling Han could even react, the tree branch had already burrowed into his wrist. Then, it continued to advance, and in 0.01 seconds it had arrived at his shoulder. Damn it! Ling Han had not thought that Ning Yu would have such a trump card. He hurriedly struggled out of Ning Yu's palm and channeled a technique to force the tree branch out of his body. Ling Han, to tell you the truth, the tree branch in your body is a branch of the world tree. With your cultivation level, it is impossible for you to force it out. Ning Yu chuckled bitterly and sent a voice transmission to Ling Han. You should just obediently enjoy it. It won't be long before you become a skeleton like Ling Hu. A branch of the world tree. When he heard that the tree branch in his body was a branch of the world tree, Ling Han's pupils constricted, and an expression of despair appeared on his face. He was not afraid of the branch of the world tree. What he was most afraid of was the branch blossoming. He could feel a powerful devouring power surging out from the flower bud and rampaging through his body. Ning Yu was right. If he did not do something, he would definitely be sucked dry before long. Abandon my arm. In the blink of an eye, Ling Han made a decision. Sever his arm. By the looks of it now, this was the only method that could save Ling Han's life. Everything else was useless. You want to abandon your arm? How could it be so simple? A smile spread across Ning Yu's face, and he said loudly, Red Demon, if you don't act now, when will you? In fact, when he heard Ning Yu's words, Ling Han had already realized the severity of the problem. However, he still had a sliver of hope, and so he still used his full strength to sever his right arm. Pooh! Ling Han had just severed his right arm when a red figure darted out from his chest, landing in front of him in the blink of an eye. Ling Han looked at the red figure in front of him, and stretched out a hand to point. He wanted to say something, yet he felt a sharp pain from his heart. Ling Han lowered his head to look at the fist-sized hole in his chest, his expression filled with terror. What Ling Han was afraid of was yet to come. The branch of the world tree that had entered his body through his wrist had already taken root in his stomach. That flower bud continued to absorb nutrients from his body, and in a short minute, it had already doubled in size, looking like it was about to bloom. Ling Han definitely wouldn't allow the flower bud to bloom on his body. He stretched out his left hand and forcefully grabbed the flower bud, wanting to pull it off. Pooh! However, Ling Han's hand had just grabbed the flower bud when his eyes rolled back, and his body directly fell backward. When Ling Han's body fell backward, everyone could clearly see that his originally full body gradually became thin and weak. From the time he fell backward to the time he landed on the ground, it was a distance of 90 degrees. It was as if he had been hollowed out, and only a skeleton was left. Shwa! If Ning Yu killing the black-robed martial artist could be said to be a coincidence, killing Chang Kuan could be said to be luck, and killing Ling Hu could be said to be a blind guess, then now that he had killed Ling Han, it was enough to prove his strength. In less than an hour's time, Ning Yu had killed a total of 2 middle-stage creation tier cultivators, as well as 2 early-stage creation tier cultivators. From now on, this magnificent feat would probably never be accomplished by a martial artist in the early stage of Yin-Yang tier. Ning Yu didn't care about the strange expressions of the people around him. He first put the branch of the world tree into his storage ring, and then walked straight towards Mu Feng. After a while, Ning Yu came to Mu Feng's side and said, Dean Mu, Chang Kuan colluded with martial artists from the Blood God Palace. I'm afraid the entire Danwu College needs to be thoroughly investigated. Don't worry, this time there definitely won't be a fish that escapes the net, Mu Feng said in a low voice. Right, Ning Yu, I'll give this to you. Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, Mu Feng flicked his wrist, and instantly, a cold light flew out. Ning Yu firmly caught it in his hand, opened his palm, and looked at it. He was puzzled and said, A medicine key? Dean Mu, this is. This is the medicine key to enter the pill cave, Mu Feng said with a smile. It's too expensive, I can't take it, Ningyu said hurriedly, and was about to return the medicine key to Mu Feng. If I give it to you, just take it. If it weren't for you today, Danwu College would definitely fall into the hands of the Blood God Palace. At that time, who knows how many people would suffer? Mu Feng said. Chapter 728. Swoosh. Swoosh. Mu Feng did not purposely lower his voice, so the surrounding elders could clearly hear his words. This caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The reason why Mu Feng could become the ruler of Danwu College was because his cultivation had reached the early stage of manifestation realm. On the other hand, it was because he held the key to enter the Pill Cave. The Pill Cave was the foundation of Danwu College. Generally speaking, the Pill Cave had two uses. First, it increased the chances of a peak yin-yang realm martial artist advancing to the half-step manifestation realm. Second, it allowed an early-stage grade 8 alchemist to have a high chance of becoming a middle-stage grade 8 alchemist. Either one of these two uses was enough for Mu Feng to enjoy supreme glory in Danwu College. Dean Mu, I'm afraid this is not appropriate. Although the surrounding elders were shocked, no one came out to oppose Mu Feng. On the contrary, the first elder to oppose Mu Feng was Old Ancestor Jiuemo. Old Ancestor Jiuemo's expression was solemn as he lowered his voice. Ningyu is only at the early stage of yin-yang realm. If he holds the Pill Cave key, I'm afraid there's no need to say any more. Everyone has seen Ningyu's strength. It's safest to place the key in his hands. Mu Feng waved his hand, interrupting Old Ancestor Jiuemo's words. Moreover, if anyone dares to speak of this matter, don't blame me for being impolite. After saying this, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the surrounding martial artists, extremely cold. Mu Feng's meaning was very clear. Whoever dared to oppose Ningyu was opposing him. Ningyu, if I give you the key, just take it. Don't be like a girl and try to make things difficult. Mu Feng said to Ningyu in a clear voice while secretly sending a soul message. Among these elders, there must be remnants of Chang Kuan's faction. I want to use you as bait to lure them out. As expected. In fact, when Mu Feng said that he wanted to give the key to Ningyu, Ningyu had already guessed this possibility. Otherwise, even if he was the greatest contributor to Danwu College, he would not have the right to keep the key to the Pill Cave. Rest assured, I know what to do. Ningyu nodded slightly before placing the key into his storage ring. All elders, leave the forbidden area. After waiting for Ningyu's confirmation, Mu Feng's voice contained some yuan qi as he loudly said, no one is allowed to speak of what happened in the forbidden area. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Buzz. All the elders were waiting for Mu Feng to say this. When Mu Feng's words fell, many elders scattered in an uproar. They tore through the void and left the forbidden area. Almost in an instant, the originally noisy forbidden area instantly quietened down. Ningyu, let's go to the Pill Cavern. The silence did not last for too long. Mu Feng continued, if you stay inside for a day or two, both your cultivation and soul power will increase by at least one level. Dean Mu, can you let the silver-winged dragon and the others enter the Pill Cavern as well? With such a good thing, Ningyu did not forget about the silver-winged dragon and the others who fought alongside him. No, it should be the beast. It's fine. I said that whoever can enter the Pill Cavern is up to you. I naturally will not go back on my words. Mu Feng smiled. If that's the case, thank you, Dean Mu. Let's go first. I'm afraid the silver-winged dragon and the others will not last long. Since they could enter the Pill Cavern, Ningyu would not foolishly waste time here. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were not lightly injured. Even the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball in the storage ring were heavily injured. If he wanted them to recover as soon as possible, he could only enter the Pill Cavern. Ningyu that, before Ningyu could take a few steps, a familiar voice rang in his ear. Sha sha. Hearing this, Ningyu stopped and looked back. Yang Luan, you also have the right to enter the pill cavern. I treat my own people equally. Ningyu thought that Yang Luan had stopped him because he wanted to enter the pill cavern. However, Yang Luan's next words made Ningyu a little angry. I also want to enter the pill cavern, but I stopped you not because of entering the pill cavern, but because that mysterious martial artist from the Imperial family contacted me and asked me to return to the Imperial family as soon as possible. Yang Luan said awkwardly. F***ck. You're wasting my time on such a trivial matter? Ningyu's expression was cold and he even cursed. Tell that mysterious martial artist to wait. We can only return to the Imperial family when we leave the pill cavern. All right. Yang Luan still had a lot of things he wanted to say, but after hearing Ningyu's voice and seeing Ningyu's expression, he forcefully swallowed the words at the tip of his mouth. Let's go. Since Yang Luan understood the situation, Ningyu no longer paid attention to him. Instead, he let out a low shout and disappeared behind Mu Feng. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were very sensible. Since Ningyu had left, they definitely wouldn't stay behind. Moreover, Mu Feng had also said that the pill cavern could at least raise Ningyu's cultivation by 1 level. Staying behind for such a good thing would be a fool. It's a waste not to go. Seeing the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast disappear, Yang Luan muttered to himself. He also tore through the void and disappeared. Old ancestor Jiu Mo pondered for a second before his figure flickered, and he left the forbidden area. The reason why old ancestor Jiu Mo didn't enter the pill cavern with Ningyu and the others was that the current Danwu College was a mess that he needed to deal with. If he couldn't take charge of the overall situation at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Swoosh. At this time, in a certain hall of the Imperial family, the void in the main hall suddenly split open, and a few figures quickly appeared. The leading martial artist quickly made his way to the main seat of the hall with a furious look on his face. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely recognize that this martial artist was none other than the Emperor of the Xia Kingdom, Yang Ba. After Danwu College had dealt with the experts of the Corpse Insect, Yang Ba left Yang Luan alone and returned to the Imperial family with a few half-step manifestation realm martial artists. Crack! Yang Ba slammed his palm on the chair he was sitting on, causing the chair made of 1,000-year sandalwood to shatter into pieces. Humph! Ningyu has gone too far. He has no respect for the Imperial family at all. Yang Ba's chest heaved up and down as he said angrily. Your Majesty, you don't have to be so angry. Seeing that Yang Ba was enraged, a half-step manifestation realm martial artist in the hall immediately said, Everyone has a weakness. I believe Ningyu has a weakness too. As long as we can find out Ningyu's weakness, we'll definitely make him submit to us. Yang Ting, what do you think is Ningyu's weakness? Yang Ba raised his eyebrows and asked in a deep voice. In this mainland, most people's weaknesses are their family members. Yang Ting's lips curled upward as he said with an evil smile. Fine, I'll leave this matter to you. I'll give you 1 day's time. After 1 day, I must see Ningyu's parents no matter what. Yang Ba said coldly. Don't worry, Your Majesty. I promise to complete the task. Yang Ting said in a sinister tone. Chapter 729. Potential threat. Very well, go now. Don't let me down. Yang Ba waved his hand, signaling Yang Ting to leave. Don't worry about me. Yang Ting patted his chest, and then his figure flashed out of the hall. Thump, thump. After Yang Ting left, Yang Ba raised his heel and stomped on the ground rhythmically. Yang Ba had long known that Ningyu was a tough nut to crack. After all, he had set up a few traps to make things difficult for Ningyu, but Ningyu had resolved all of them. Let's see how you're going to act so arrogantly against me once Yang Ting brings your parents back. This time, Yang Ba did not think that Ningyu would be able to resolve the situation. Of course, that was unless Ningyu did not care about his parents' safety. After all, humans could not threaten beasts with humans. But, however, just as Ouyangba was thinking about how to threaten Ningyu's parents with Ningyu, a dull thud was heard coming from the entrance of the hall. Bang! Following this, a figure flew into the hall and landed heavily on the ground. Ouyangting! Ouyangba's expression turned cold as he stared at the familiar figure on the ground and snapped, "Who injured you like this?" Ouyangting's aura was extremely weak at that moment, and he even had a few broken bones. Ouyangting was a half-formable realm martial artist, ranked top 5 among the royal family expert. One could imagine how strong the enemy was if he was injured to this extent. "I'm the one who injured him." Ouyangting was about to answer when a voice was heard coming from outside the hall. Ouyangting's face was filled with terror after hearing the voice. He immediately shut his mouth and did not dare to breathe too loudly. A mysterious martial artist. Ouyangba stared at the skinny figure entering the hall and said in a cold voice, "What are you doing here? Didn't the ancestor arrange a place for you?" "Ancestor? You must be referring to that useless Ouyang-lun. To be honest, I'm here to look for him." The skinny cultivator curled his lips and stretched out 3 fingers. "I won't say anything unnecessary. I'll give you 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I want to see Ouyang-lun, otherwise." At this point, the skinny cultivator's gaze swept across the few people in the hall and he continued, "For every minute that passes, I will destroy one person's cultivation." Arrogant. The skinny martial artist's arrogant words angered a half-step manifestation realm expert from the royal family. Without waiting for Ouyangba's reply, the half-martial manifestation realm expert tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny cultivator. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse threw out a punch, bringing with it a gust of primordial chi wind as it ruthlessly smashed towards the skinny martial artist's head. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse seemed to have seen the tragic scene of the martial artist's brain exploding. His lips even curled up into an evil smile. However, the half-step manifestation realm powerhouse had clearly overestimated his own strength. Before his fist could land on the skinny martial artist's head, the skinny martial artist had already disappeared. Then, a fist continued to expand in front of his eyes, and finally landed on his nose, where he could not avoid it. Ah! The immense pain coming from his nose and head caused the half-step manifestation realm martial artist to let out a blood-curdling screech like a pig being slaughtered. His body fell backward. Crack! A crisp sound was heard as the half-step manifestation realm martial artist fell to the ground. Just like Ouyangting, a few of his bones were broken. Gasp! If it was said that Ouyangting's aura was weak due to some kind of conspiracy, then the fact that this half-step manifestation realm martial artist was severely injured caused all the martial artists at the scene, including Ouyangba, to inhale deeply. How powerful was this skinny martial artist? To be able to severely injure a half-step manifestation realm martial artist with a single move, his true strength was probably at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm. On the surface, his cultivation base is only at the intermediate stage of the Yin-Yang realm, but he must be at the manifestation realm. Ouyangba took a deep breath and mumbled, "Why don't we calm him down first and test his strength?" As the emperor of the Great Xia Kingdom, Ouyangba was not stupid. He would not take the risk unless it was a life-and-death situation. Damn it! Go to Danwu College at once. I don't care what you have to do, you must find the ancestor and bring him back. Ouyangba clenched his fists and yelled furiously. Yes, we'll go now. When the remaining 2 half-step to manifestation realm martial artists in the main hall heard Ouyangba's voice, they felt as if they had been pardoned from a great crime and hurriedly left. The skinny martial artist did not stop the martial artists from leaving, but said calmly, "You have 2 minutes left. 2 martial artists have just left the hall, so you'll have to bear all the torture they're going to face. Come back at once." This time, Ba was dumbfounded as he yelled at the top of his lungs. The two martial artists had just escaped from the hall. How could they return so easily? Even after hearing Ba's yell, they continued to move forward at full speed, using all their strength to leave the palace. 1 minute left. The skinny martial artist's urging voice was heard once again. Let's give it our all. Now that he had no one to rely on, Ba had no choice but to risk his life. Buzz buzz. In the next instant, Ba tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny martial artist in the blink of an eye. In order to kill the opponent with a single blow, not only did Ba wrap his vitality around his wrist, he even wrapped his soul force around his wrist. For many years, Ba had been pretending to be weak. His real cultivation base was not the yin-yang realm that the public had speculated, but the half-step manifestation realm. Furthermore, he had reached the peak of the half-step manifestation realm. He was only a step away from the early-stage manifestation realm. The attack he had unleashed with all his might was extremely powerful. Even an ordinary early-stage manifestation realm martial artist would not dare to take it head-on. I don't care if you're the mysterious martial artist, since you've offended the royal family, you've offended me, I'll make you. Ba uttered coldly as his fist was about to land on the skinny martial artist, as if he was going to win. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was cruel. At that instant, Ba experienced the same feeling. His fist did land on the skinny martial artist's head. However, the skinny martial artist that he had hit was not a native, but a shadow. When Ba finally reacted, it was too late. The skinny martial artist would never let those who disobeyed his will and challenged his dignity have a good ending. Although the skinny martial artist would not go as far as to kill, it would not be a problem for him to beat Ba until he lost control of his bowels. The skinny martial artist thought so, and did as he was told. He continued to throw a few punches, each of which landed on Ba's head. In just a few seconds, Ba's head was swollen like a pig's. Thump! The skinny martial artist did not want to stop after beating Ba's head up. His goal was clear. He wanted to beat Ba until he lost control of his bowels. Following this, the skinny martial artist raised his right leg and gave a few kicks. 3 seconds later, the skinny martial artist stopped. As for Ba, he fell limply onto the ground, with a pool of yellow liquid flowing out from his body. Sigh, so useless. Forget it, I'll pay a visit to Danwu College myself. I'd like to see where Luan got his courage from to go against my will. Chapter 730. Not the strongest Dean Mu. Is this the pill cave? Ningyu had no idea what had happened to Ba and the others. After leaving the forbidden area, Ningyu followed Mu Feng to the so-called pill cave. In fact, it was no wonder that Ningyu was surprised. In his knowledge, the pill cave should be in a cave somewhere. At the very least, it should be a cave. But now, they were in a room. If there was anything different about this room, it would be that there was not a single table or chair in the room. It was extremely empty. Silver-winged Dragon and the rest were confused too. Didn't they say that the pill cave was a place of treasures? Didn't they say that the pill cave could help Ningyu improve his cultivation by a level? What the f***ck, Stone Dog Tai La, hee. This is obviously not the pill cave. Seeing the reactions of Ningyu and the rest, Mu Feng smiled and stomped his right foot on the ground. Crack! As Mu Feng's right foot landed on the ground, a cracking sound was heard. Whoosh! Following that, Ningyu and the rest saw the ground suddenly sink with Mu Feng at the center. What are you waiting for? The pill cave is right below. The moment Mu Feng's head disappeared, a voice was heard in the room. Whoosh! 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 Hearing Mu Feng's voice, Ningyu and the rest snapped out of their daze. They immediately stomped their feet on the ground and dived into the ground from the sunken area. Creak! After Ningyu and the rest disappeared, the sunken ground closed up and everything returned to normal. Dark. Very dark. Very dark. The first, second, and third feeling that Ningyu had after entering the ground were all dark. Furthermore, in the endless darkness, Ningyu could even sense a few powerful auras. These auras were mostly at the peak of the yin-yang realm. Furthermore, at the end of the darkness, Ningyu could even sense an extremely powerful aura. The aura had even reached the peak of the initial stage of the manifestation realm. The Pill Cavern is the forbidden area of Danwu College. It enjoys the highest level of protection in Danwu College. Perhaps he was afraid that Ningyu would overthink it, Mu Feng explained. Although I'm the dean of Danwu College, I'm not like Oyanglun. My strength isn't the strongest in Danwu College. Aren't you the strongest in Danwu College? Hearing that, Ningyu raised an eyebrow and suddenly thought of something. He asked, in Danwu College, does the old headmaster know of an old man named Wu Xie? When Ningyu left Tianxian City, his father, Ningyu, had given him a pendant, saying that he was afraid that he would not be able to enter Danwu College. If he was unable to get into Danwu College, he could give the semicircular pendant to an old man named Wu Xie, saying that Wu Xie could help him. However, Ningyu easily entered Danwu College and entered Danwu College as the top scorer in the Sacred Institute's examination. Therefore, Ningyu temporarily forgot about Wu Xie. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Ningyu recalled. He had always felt that Wu Xie was a little special. After all, the red demon sword had been trapped in the pendant for a long time. Wu Xie. Mu Feng frowned and tried hard to recall. After a while, Mu Feng shook his head and said, I remember the names of all the elders and mentors in Danwu College. I have no impression of the old man Wu Xie you mentioned. Is there something important? Seeing Ningyu's disappointed look, Mu Feng continued, if there's something important, I'll immediately ask someone to investigate. As long as Wu Xie is really in Danwu College, we'll definitely be able to find him. Actually, it's nothing important. It's just that my father mentioned Wu Xie before. Ningyu said. Leave it to me. After we leave the pill cave, I'll immediately get someone to investigate. Mu Feng patted his chest. If that's the case, thank you, old dean. Ningyu thanked him sincerely. Haha, the entrance to the pill cave is just ahead. Let's speed up a little. Mu Feng smiled faintly, then suddenly sped up and dashed forward. Not long after, Mu Feng stopped in front of a stone door. Ningyu, insert the medicine spoon into the hole. Mu Feng pointed to the hole on the stone door and said to Ningyu. Click. Ningyu moved to the stone door and inserted the medicine spoon into the hole. As soon as the medicine spoon was inserted into the hole, the stone door slowly moved. Creak. The heavy stone door rubbed against the ground, making creaking sounds. When the stone door was completely open, Mu Feng stepped in first. Behind Mu Feng, Ningyu and Oyanglun followed closely. As soon as he entered the pill cave, Ningyu was shocked by the scene in front of him. In the air, countless light spots flew past at high speed. These light spots were roughly divided into two types, one was white and the other was gold. The white light spots contain energy, which is the so-called pure vitality. Mu Feng explained. As for the gold light spots, it contains pure soul power. Swish. Swish. Without waiting for Ningyu to speak, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast rushed out. Their target was clear, that was the white light spots. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were still seriously injured. To them, the vitality was a life-saving straw. The pill cave is huge. This is just the entrance. The white and gold light spots are very small. Mu Feng continued. If you can reach the depths of the pill cave, you can even find larger light spots. But I don't agree with you going deep into the pill cave, because you might encounter a pill puppet there. Pill puppet? What's that? Ningyu frowned. Because the pill cave has existed for a long time, it gave birth to a type of virtual body. This kind of virtual body devours the white and gold light spots for a long time, so it's powerful. Mu Feng sighed softly and said helplessly, actually, the pill puppet is the true treasure of the pill cave. If you can devour the lowest grade pill puppet, not only can your cultivation easily reach the yin-yang intermediate stage, but your soul power can also advance to the Tier 6 intermediate stage. I have to remind you that the lowest grade pill puppet strength is suppressed to the creation realm intermediate stage. You must not provoke them. Seeing that Ning Yu had an urge to give it a try, Mu Feng hurriedly said, even the strongest person in the Dan Wu Academy has no way of contending with the lowest grade pill puppet. They can only govern the pill cavern by dividing the region. Don't worry, Dean. I'll just walk around the periphery. I definitely won't enter the depths of the pill cave, Ning Yu said. That's good. I'll find a place to rest first. Do as you please. Mu Feng said this, then tore through the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. I'm sure you heard what Dean Mu said. I don't want you to provoke the pill puppet. Ning Yu turned his head to look at Ouyang Luan, and his figure gradually became illusory. How would I dare to provoke the pill puppet? Ouyang Luan muttered to himself, then hurriedly went to capture the light spots. The pill cave wasn't a place anyone could enter, so Ouyang Luan naturally cherished this opportunity. Swish! After leaving the entrance of the pill cave, Ning Yu flew straight to the place with the highest concentration of light spots. After about 10 minutes, Ning Yu stopped. Chapter 731. By de-earning you first devoured the white light spots. The white speck of light contained pure yuan qi, while the golden speck of light contained pure soul power. Ning Yu was well aware of his current situation. His soul force was at the early stage of grade 6. Even if he advanced to the mid-stage of grade 6, his strength would not increase much. Only by advancing his cultivation from the early stage to the mid-stage, or even the late stage, would there be a qualitative change. Buzz! Ning Yu continuously devoured the white light spots and felt the violent yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body. Then, it surged into his consciousness. Ning Yu had already expected this situation. He hurriedly used the spirit transformation technique to control the yuan qi into his golden core. When he was at the peak of Yuan Dan, Ning Yu had a total of 7 golden cores in his consciousness. When he advanced to the early stage of Yin Yang, Ning Yu's 7 golden cores shattered and reformed into a single golden core. However, this single golden core contained more energy than the previous 7 golden cores. Although Ning Yu devoured a few light spots, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. It did not impact his golden core. However, Ning Yu was not discouraged. He sat cross-legged and continued to devour the white light spots around him. Swoosh! While Ning Yu was devouring the white light spots with all his might, 4 head-sized light spots were slowly moving not far in front of him. 4 light spots, 2 white and 2 gold. Wherever these 4 light spots went, not a single blade of grass grew. No, it should be said that there was nothing left. Be it the white or gold light spots, they were all devoured by them. Sigh, what bad luck! The treasure land has been occupied by the Diablo. We can only come to the periphery of the pill cave to devour the light spot. One of the white light spots complained, if this continues, when will we be able to advance? You still want to advance? Be content. Fortunately, we ran fast. Otherwise, we would have all been devoured by the Diablo. The other white light spot was scared when it mentioned the Diablo. That's fine too. We can proclaim ourselves as kings in the pill cave's outer perimeter. It's quite free and unfettered, said the golden speck of light. Freedom my ass. If we don't replenish our energy for a long time, our strength will quickly decline. The golden dot at the side didn't think so. He was still very pessimistic. Sigh, I haven't seen anyone for a long time. What if there's someone at this time? The first white dot to speak sighed softly. Before he finished speaking, he pointed to the front and exclaimed, it's an early-stage yin-yang cultivator. It really is a human. The other 3 dots of light also discovered the martial artists not far away. With a shake of their bodies, they transformed from dots of light into human forms. Seeing that the 3 of them had transformed into their human forms, the first white dot of light that spoke also suddenly turned and transformed into a young man who looked like a scholar. I didn't expect to encounter a living human right after escaping. TSK. Devouring humans is much better than devouring motes of light, said the scholarly young man with a sinister smile. Let's go take a look. As for the other 3 spots of light, one was dressed in white and the other 2 were dressed in golden robes. It was obvious that the golden-robed man was a golden dot of light, while the white-robed man was a white dot of light. I've finally recovered to my peak state. Now I can try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage. Oh no. The spiritual art devoured primordial qi very quickly. In just a few minutes, Ningyu had already recovered to his peak state. Just as Ningyu was about to try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly stood up. Swoosh! 4 martial artists suddenly appeared in front of him. Although he didn't know the specific cultivation of these 4 martial artists, Ningyu could still sense traces of a terrifying aura from them. This terrifying aura indicated that these 4 martial artists had reached the mid-yin-yang stage. Could they be the pill puppets that Dean Mu mentioned? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. However, on second thought, this place was still very far away from the depths of the pill cave. It didn't make sense for there to be a pill puppet here. Brat, you're lucky to have met us. We're in a bad mood today, so we've decided to split you into 4, half for each of us. The golden-robed man's words were extremely shocking. The moment he opened his mouth, Ningyu's expression completely darkened. Who are you? Ningyu asked in a deep voice. Who are you? We're not humans. I'm Jin De and he's Jin De. The golden-robed man pointed at himself, and then at the other golden-robed man. I'm Bai De and he's Bai De. The white-robed man shrugged. Upon hearing that, Ningyu's face darkened. What kind of F***king names are these? White coat? Golden coat? Are they called coats because they don't have clothes to wear? I don't care what coat you're wearing. In any case, this is Danwu College's pill cave. What do you want? Ningyu wanted to calm the 4 of them down while he contacted the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast. Even if Ningyu wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to escape from 4 mid-stage manifestation realm experts. He could only contact the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast to think of a solution. Don't talk nonsense with him. Bai De, go and split him into 4. We're going to enjoy him. Bai De waved his hand, gesturing for Bai De to act as soon as possible. Got it. Bai De had long wanted to taste something new. As soon as Bai De's voice fell, he tore through the void and charged toward Ningyu. Damn it! At this critical moment, Ningyu's first thought was to escape. However, he gave up on that idea in a flash. Because he definitely couldn't escape, he could only fight head-on. That way, he might have a chance. Palm of life and death. Ningyu channeled all the primordial qi in his sea of consciousness into his palm and struck out with his most powerful palm. Netherworld Samsara Palm's 7th style, Palm of life and death. Bang. However, Ningyu's most powerful move was not even worth mentioning in Bai De's hands. Bai De struck out with his palm and blasted Ningyu several meters back. Although Ningyu was prepared for the attack of a mid-stage manifestation realm martial artist, he was still severely injured and his aura was slightly weak. Can't even withstand a single blow. Bai De did not stop after his attack succeeded. Instead, he continued to attack. Swoosh. However, what happened next left Bai De dumbfounded. Before Bai De could reach Ningyu, a branch rushed out from Ningyu's storage ring. Hiss. Furthermore, there was a budding flower bud on this branch. Although the flower bud had not bloomed, it was still gorgeous and colorful. The most terrifying thing was that a monstrous engulfment force surged out from the flower bud. This engulfment force arrived beside Baidaer in an instant and forced him back to his original form under Baidaer's horrified gaze. White speck of light. Ningyu was dumbfounded as he looked at Baidaer's original form. Just as he had guessed, Baidaer was not a human but a pill puppet. A genuine pill puppet. Baidaer, save me. Chapter 732. Flower petals bloom, save my ass. Run. Baidae wasn't a fool. He wouldn't foolishly try to save Baidaer. The powerful devouring power that erupted from the flower bud made even him feel guilty. He couldn't muster any thoughts of resisting. Perhaps running was the best choice right now. Swoosh. Swoosh. Seeing Baidae escape, Jindae and Jindaer also dashed out and ran into the distance. Chi-chi. Before Baidae and the others could get far, Baidaer was swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh. After swallowing Baidaer, the flower bud finally transformed. One of its petals suddenly split open. Buzz buzz. The blossoming of the petal seemed to make the flower bud even stronger. In the blink of an eye, 3 terrifying devouring powers rushed out from the flower bud. These 3 devouring powers were not only fast, but they were also much stronger than the one that swallowed Baidaer. Almost in an instant, the 3 devouring powers caught up to Baidae and the others. I'll go all out. Poochie. Feeling the devouring power assaulting him from behind, Baidae shouted in a low voice and turned around with the intention of resisting it. However, Baidae's idea was perfect, but reality was cruel. Baidae wasn't much better off than Baidaer. He was first forced into his original form by the devouring powers, then sucked into the flower bud. Hiss. Seeing Baidae's pitiful state, Jindae and Jindaer sucked in a cold breath. Their hearts sank to the bottom. Among the 4 of them, Baidae was the strongest. He had the most trump cards. Even someone as strong as Baidae was easily swallowed. It was obvious that Jindae and Jindaer wouldn't have it easy. Plop. Since they couldn't escape, Jindae and the others bent their knees and knelt on the ground. Human, we're only the weakest pill puppet. You're so strong. The evil king is your real target. Jindae shouted, hoping that Ningyu would spare his life. Who's the evil king? Ningyu separated a strand of soul force and stopped the flower bud temporarily. The evil king is the strongest pill puppet in the pill cavern. His strength has reached the late stage of the manifestation realm. Jindae seemed to have found a life-saving straw and hurriedly said, as long as you can let this flower bud devour the evil king, it will definitely be able to fully bloom. Ningyu had once counted that the flower bud had a total of 8 petals. At this rate, even if the flower bud swallowed up Jindae and Jindae, it still wouldn't be able to fully bloom. That's a good idea, but why should I believe you? Although Ningyu really wanted to see the flower bud bloom, he still frowned. The Diablo is in the depths of the pill cavern. If you don't believe me, you can come with me. You'll naturally believe me when you get there, Jindae continued. Humph. The evil king is indeed at the late stage of the blessed realm, but he is only 1 step away from advancing to the peak of the blessed realm. When he saw that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Jindae snorted in his heart and said, not only is the evil king strong, he's also incredibly hot-tempered. At that time, you will definitely fight, and when the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman will benefit from it. Heh. Before Jindae could finish his sweet dream, it was mercilessly shattered by Ningyu's next words. Go to the depths of the pill cavern with you? I'm not an idiot. Ningyu pursed his lips and said, I didn't look for you, but you wanted to come and eat me. You can only blame yourselves for being too greedy. When Ningyu said this, Jindae's face turned pale. Run. At that moment, Jindae thought of escaping again, and he put it into action. Ningyu's intention was very clear. He would definitely not let him go. If he did not run now, when would he run? You're only thinking of running now. Don't you think it's a little too late? Ningyu smiled and controlled the flower bud to chase after Jean Dei. The flower bud had wanted to swallow Jean Dei for a long time. Now that it had received Ningyu's reply, two terrifying engulfing forces surged out of its body again. Jean Dei and Jean Dei met the same fate. After letting out a shriek like a pig being slaughtered, he transformed into his true form. As soon as they returned to their true forms, they were swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh, whoosh. After devouring Jean Dei and Jean Dei, another 2 petals bloomed. In addition to the previous 2 petals, there were a total of 4 petals blooming on the flower bud's body. However, the 4 petals only bloomed for a short while before closing again. What an ingrate! After devouring so much yuan qi and soul power, he didn't even think of sharing some with me, Ningyu mumbled as he watched the blooming petals close. Whoosh! Just as Ningyu was mumbling to himself, a beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in an instant. Ningyu only felt a monstrous wave of yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body, and then it surged into his consciousness. Spiritual transformation technique. The sudden change did not cause Ningyu to lose his mind. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to use the spiritual transformation technique to start depleting the yuan qi in his consciousness. Whoosh! However, before Ningyu finished depleting his yuan qi, another golden beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in the blink of an eye. Pure soul power. Ningyu's mouth was slightly agape, and his eyes were wide open. He could not believe everything that was happening. With this pure soul power and yuan qi, Ningyu had reason to believe that he would be able to advance very soon. Ningyu took a deep breath and let the flower bud float in the air. He was going to make a breakthrough with all his might. With the flower bud protecting him, Ningyu was very relieved. That was because the flower bud was the natural nemesis of the Dan Qi. In Ningyu's consciousness, the remaining golden core was rapidly devouring the pure yuan qi in the beam of light. At this speed, Ningyu would be able to advance further and reach the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm in half an hour at most. As for Ningyu's grade 6 soul power, it was madly merging with the pure soul power that was being fed back by the flower bud. At this speed, the strength of Ningyu's soul power would reach the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm in 40 minutes at most, or even the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. Time passed by minute by minute. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Bam! When the 31st minute arrived, a muffled sound suddenly came from Ningyu's consciousness. Immediately, a monstrous aura spread out in all directions with Ningyu as the center. Rumble! After the monstrous aura spread out, a group of 2 behemoths to the west of Ningyu revealed a shocked expression. It's in the direction where Ningyu is. Ningyu recognized the 2 behemoths. One was a twin-horned beast, the other was a silver-winged dragon. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry over before something unexpected happens. The twin-horned beast yelled and directly tore through the void, disappearing in an instant. To the east of Ningyu, Mu Feng looked in the direction where the powerful aura was rising and frowned slightly. He murmured, "Could it be that Ningyu broke through? Not good. If it's really Ningyu breaking through, then it'll be terrible." Mu Feng did not dare to think too much and hurriedly rushed out. Just as he said, if it was really Ningyu breaking through, it would indeed be very dangerous. There were many Dan Qi in the depths of the pill cave. The reaction caused by Ningyu breaking through was too great, and it was very likely to attract the attention of powerful Dan Qi. Chapter 733. Intimidate you, few. In a certain area of the pill cave, Ningyu slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. After 30 minutes of all-out effort, Ningyu finally broke through to middle stage Yin-Yang realm at the 31st minute. Although it was only a small increase in his cultivation base, Ningyu could clearly feel that his strength had increased tremendously. Even if I don't use my soul power now, I'm fearless against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Feeling the majestic vitality waves in his consciousness, Ningyu took a deep breath and mumbled, "Even if I encounter a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist, I can still escape easily if I can't beat him." Ningyu had an accurate judgment of his own strength. Without using his soul power, he could fight against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Once he used his soul power, he could even be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist. After all, Ningyu's current strongest technique was the Netherworld Samsara Palm, and the Netherworld Samsara Palm was a soul attack technique. Of course, the prerequisite for Ningyu to be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist was that his soul power had to reach middle stage 6. Otherwise, it would all be empty talk. Devour. Naturally, Ningyu would not sit there and wait like a fool. He withdrew his aura and focused on devouring the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back. In the first minute, Ningyu devoured 1/5 of the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back to his body. In the second minute, he devoured 2/5. In the third minute, the fourth minute, until the fifth minute. Bang! A dull sound came from Ningyu's body. Swoosh! Ningyu abruptly opened his eyes after the muffled sound rang out. A berserk soul fluctuation burst out from his body. "Not bad, I've actually broken through to middle stage 6. The soul wave around Ningyu flashed for a moment before returning to normal. Initially, Ningyu thought that he could only increase his soul power to middle stage 6 at most, and it would be more difficult for him to break through to middle stage 6. Unexpectedly, his soul power really did break through to middle stage 6. Life and Death Palm. After his soul force had reached the late stage of grade 6, Ningyu flicked his wrist and impatiently displayed the Life and Death Palm. In order to test the might of the Life and Death Palm, Ningyu even injected the essence energy in his sea of consciousness into his palm, executing the strongest move he could execute at his current stage. Rumble. In midair, a huge blood-colored handprint suddenly appeared, covering the sky and covering the sun. It was abnormally huge. Who? Suddenly, Ningyu's eyes turned cold. With a low grunt, he controlled the blood-colored palm to attack into the distance. In the direction of the blood-colored palm print, 3 blurry figures were faintly discernible, becoming clearer and clearer. "It's Dean Mu and the others." After seeing the person's face, Ningyu hurriedly sent a portion of his soul power into the blood-red palm print, continuously weakening its power. Even if Ningyu went all out, when the palm imprint reached Mu Feng and the others, it still had 60% of its power. Not good! F***CK. Who has the guts to attack us? The sudden appearance of the blood-colored palm print caused Mu Feng and the silver-winged dragon's expressions to change greatly. They hurriedly executed their own trump cards to resist. Bang! 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 Although Mu Feng and the others had all executed their strongest trump cards, the result was not ideal. 3 consecutive crisp sounds rang out. Mu Feng and the other 2 fell to the ground like kites with their strings cut. Puff! Even Mu Feng, who had weak resistance, spat out a large mouthful of blood. His breath was slightly weak. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast did not fare any better. They fell to the ground with their mouths on the ground, looking very miserable. "Damn it, who is it? Damn it, it's you." The silver-winged dragon did a carp roll and stood up from the ground. However, just as he was about to explode in anger, he saw a familiar figure rushing over from afar. He was indeed very familiar with this figure. It was Ningyu. "I'm very sorry. I didn't know it was you guys. If I had known, I wouldn't have treated you guys like this." Ningyu scratched his head awkwardly. He was a little embarrassed. No matter what, he was the one who made the mistake first. Admitting his mistake was always the right thing to do. "Ningyu, what move did you execute just now? Why is it so powerful?" Mu Feng did not have the intention to blame Ningyu. He asked in confusion. One had to know that if he had not used all his trump cards to resist, he would have most likely died. Life and death palm is my strongest move at this stage. Ningyu said honestly, after executing this move, I have already exhausted all my strength. I need to rest for a long time to recover. In order to not cause an even greater shock, Ningyu had to fabricate a reasonable reason. Otherwise, Mu Feng would probably treat him as a monster. Little did he know that Mu Feng had already treated him as a monster. You've advanced to the middle stage of the yin-yang realm? Everyone had their privacy. Mu Feng felt that the palm earlier was Ningyu's privacy. Hence, he did not continue to harp on it. Instead, he changed the topic and said, also, if I'm not wrong, the strength of your soul force has probably reached the advanced stage of the 6th grade. Nothing can be hidden from the dean. Ningyu laughed. How about this? You stay in the pill cavern for a while longer. I have something to take care of, Mu Feng said after some thought. What is it? Do you need my help? Ningyu saw Mu Feng's serious expression and felt that something was about to happen. Nothing big. I'm just going to clean up the traitor of Danwu College. Mu Feng waved his hand and tore through the void, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Ningyu, you injured us by accident. You must compensate us with 3 Xingyang pills. After Mu Feng left, the silver-winged dragon demanded an exorbitant price and demanded Xingyang pills from Ningyu. When Mu Feng was around, the silver-winged dragon would definitely not want to expose the existence of the Xingyang pills. Now that Mu Feng had left the pill cavern, the silver-winged dragon naturally had to demand for the Xingyang pills openly. Bullsh *T. At most, 1 pill per person. I'll pay you back in 2 months. Ningyu could not be bothered with the silver-winged dragon. He did not beat around the bush and said directly, I promised you guys 1 Xingyang pill before. Now I've promised you another one. 2 in total. You and the twin horned beast will each get 1 Xingyang pill every month. As for the timing, it's entirely up to me. Alright, you guys can go wherever you want now. I have no time to waste with you guys. Swoosh. Swoosh. In the next moment, Ningyu's soul force surged as he controlled the Dark Emperor and Furball to fly out of the storage ring. The pill cavern was a good place to recuperate. In the past, Ningyu did not dare to let the Dark Emperor and Furball out to recuperate out of fear of the pill puppet. But now, with the flower bud around, all these problems were easily solved. F***ck. Poor judgment of people. Looking at the Dark Emperor and Furball flying out of the storage ring, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast could do nothing even though they were furious. Right now, their relationship with Ningyu had been swapped. Ningyu was no longer the one listening to their orders. Instead, they had to listen to Ningyu's arrangements. Chapter 734. Mu Tian. Inside the pill cavern, the Dark Emperor and Furball were greedily devouring the white light spots while Ningyu sat down cross-legged to stabilize his cultivation. Ningyu was different from other warriors. He had advanced to the mid-stage of the yin-yang realm and did not have a period of weakness. On the contrary, the yuan qi in his consciousness was unusually violent and seemed to be on the verge of a breakthrough. The current situation was very awkward for Ningyu. On one hand, he wanted to break through to the late stage of the yin-yang realm. On the other hand, he did not have enough yuan qi in his consciousness. According to his deduction, he needed a large amount of yuan qi to successfully break through to the late stage of the yin-yang realm. At the very least, he needed twice the amount of yuan qi that the flower bud gave him. After much consideration, Ningyu decided to stabilize his cultivation first. If there was enough time, he would try to enter the depths of the pill cavern. After all, with the flower bud, Ningyu was not afraid of the so-called pill puppet at all. We have to be smart when dealing with Ningyu in the future. The silver-winged dragon and the double-horned beast muttered to themselves before finding a good place to devour the flower bud. As Ningyu and the rest were in the pill cavern, they knew nothing about what was happening outside. At the same time, Danwu College. In a square somewhere in the sacred college. Dozens of warriors had already gathered in the square. Without a doubt, most of these warriors were students of the Sacred College of Danwu College. A small number of them were teachers of Danwu College. In the middle of the square, a skinny warrior dressed in black stood there. Beside the skinny warrior, 2 or 3 warriors could be seen lying down. These warriors were mostly at the peak of the primal core realm. There was even one who was at the early stage of the yin-yang realm. It was obvious that these warriors had all been defeated by the skinny warrior. Cough, cough. The skinny cultivator's eyes slowly swept across the crowd. He coughed twice and said indifferently, "I only have one purpose this time, and that is to find Ouyang Luan. I'll give you 3 minutes. If I don't see Ouyang Luan after 3 minutes, I'll kill 1 person every minute." Gasp! Hearing the skinny cultivator's words, coupled with the powerful strength he had displayed, many students gasped. No one dared to step forward to refute him. This friend, we don't even know who Ouyang Luan is. Where do you want us to find him?" After a while, seeing that no one dared to speak, Li Tongtian braced himself and said, "Even if you want to find Ouyang Luan, you have to tell us who he is first." "Oh, you want to know who Ouyang Luan is?" Hearing Li Tongtian's words, the skinny martial artist raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "Since you have such courage, I'll tell you who Ouyang Luan is." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the thin cultivator rose from the ground and disappeared in an instant. Not good! The moment the skinny martial artist disappeared, Li Tongtian sensed that something was wrong. However, even if he realized it, it was useless. Bang! The skinny martial artist appeared beside him in an instant, and his fist, which carried a strong fluctuation of yuan qi, landed on his chest. The excruciating pain from his chest caused Li Tongtian to stumble back a few feet and fly towards a giant rock at the edge of the square. The giant rock at the edge of the square was very large, and there was a flying sword stuck in it. Seeing the flying sword stuck in the rock, the surrounding students turned pale. If Li Tongtian had hit the flying sword, he would have been crippled at the very least. Swoosh! Just as everyone was worrying about Li Tongtian, a figure suddenly dashed out from afar and caught Li Tongtian in an instant. Phew! Seeing that Li Tongtian had been saved, many students heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. If Progenitor Jiuemo had appeared just a little later, Li Tongtian would have been dead. Humph! Who dares to cause trouble in Danwu College's territory? Progenitor Jiuemo put Li Tongtian down and snorted coldly. Progenitor Jiuemo was furious. He had been busy dealing with the remnants of the corpse Yin sect when he heard that someone had caused trouble in the Sacred Institute. He immediately put down everything and rushed over. Now that he thought about it, if he had hesitated for even a moment, the fake holy son of Danwu College, Li Tongtian, could have really gone to heaven. It was really frightening to think about it. Oh, I just beat up the young one, and here comes the old one. The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, "Listen up, I will never change my name or my surname, Mu Tian." Mu Tian? Progenitor Jiuemo frowned. "Never heard of you. Of course you haven't heard of someone from a small place," Mu Tian said disdainfully. 1 minute has passed. You have 2 minutes left. Arrogant. As a cultivator who was second only to Mu Feng in Danwu College, Progenitor Jiuemo naturally would not choose to compromise. He let out a low roar and dashed toward Mu Tian at a rapid speed. Although Mu Tian was only at the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm, Progenitor Jiuemo did not underestimate him. Progenitor Jiuemo had interacted with Ningyu before, so he knew that some heaven-defying monsters could kill people who were a few levels above them. If he underestimated such monsters, he would only be at a disadvantage. However, even though Progenitor Jiuemo did not hold back, he still did not have an easy time against Mu Tian's powerful strength. Crack! Mu Tian punched out and collided head-on with Progenitor Jiuemo's fist. The result was tragic. Not only was Progenitor Jiuemo knocked back dozens of feet, but even his fist was broken with a cracking sound. If Li Tongtian's defeat in a single move had caused the surrounding students to suck in a breath of cold air, then now that forefather Jiuemo had been defeated in a single move, the surrounding martial artists were all dumbfounded. They didn't even dare to make a sound. Silence. Silence. A deathly silence. The moment an expert made a move, it was obvious. After this exchange, progenitor Jiuemo basically judged that Mu Tian's strength was at least at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even stronger. I must inform Dean Mu to come over. Progenitor Jiuemo gritted his teeth and took out a crystal ball, intending to crush it. Bang! However, how could progenitor Jiuemo's small movements escape Mu Tian's notice? Before he could crush the crystal ball, Mu Tian flicked his sleeves, and a cold light shot out and hit him in the chest. The already heavily injured progenitor Jiuemo's aura became even weaker after being hit by this cold light. Trash who has always been defeated by me in one move can't do anything without my permission, Mu Tian said calmly. Suddenly, Mu Tian's eyebrows twitched. Looking at the void not far away, he said indifferently, "Come on out. If I didn't guess wrongly, you should be the strongest person in the Danwu Academy." Buzz. As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, the void trembled. Then, a figure appeared from the void. Dean. The surrounding Danwu College students cried out excitedly when they saw the figure that had suddenly appeared. Mu Feng was the dean of Danwu College. Many students knew that. In their minds, Mu Feng was the guardian of Danwu College. Whenever Danwu College was in danger, he would always appear. Chapter 735. Unrivaled, not bad, not bad. He's actually at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Looking at Mu Feng, who was slowly walking towards him, Mu Tian gloomily said, "It's just that there's still a long way to go before I reach the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Old Dean, be careful. This Mu Tian is not simple." Before Mu Feng could reach Mu Tian, Ancestor Jiuemo's voice resounded in his mind. "Don't worry, I know what to do." Mu Feng naturally knew that Mu Tian was difficult to deal with. He took a deep breath to appease old Ancestor Jiuemo and slightly quickened his pace. After a while, Mu Feng arrived beside Mu Tian and said in a deep voice, "Speak, what exactly do you want?" "I don't want to do anything, I just want to see Ouyang Luan." Mu Tian shrugged and said, "Ouyang Luan?" Mu Feng was startled at first, then he calmly said, "Ouyang Luan is the ancestor of the imperial family. If you want to see him, you should go to the imperial family. What is the meaning of coming here?" "Ha ha, do you take me for a fool?" Mu Tian laughed hysterically and spoke in a cold voice. "The emperor of the great Xia kingdom, Ouyang Ba, personally said that Ouyang Luan is in Danwu College. You better stop wasting time. There is still 1 minute left. If I don't see Ouyang Luan, I will start a massacre." "Humph. Mu Tian, don't go too far." Mu Feng snorted coldly. "I'm going too far? That's because I have the qualifications to bully others." "Do you?" Mu Tian curled his lips and said. This sentence caused Mu Feng's anger to soar to the heavens. This was Danwu College. It was not a place for an outsider to behave atrociously. Therefore, Mu Feng moved. Whoosh. When he didn't move, it was fine, but when he did, it was shocking. After staying in the pill cavern for such a long time, Mu Feng had already recovered to his peak condition. Even though he was still a distance away from the middle stage of the manifestation realm, he was not as weak as Mu Tian had made him out to be. Sigh, there are some people in this world who are not afraid of death. When Mu Tian saw Mu Feng dashing towards him, he sighed and slowly closed his eyes. Hua! When the surrounding students saw Mu Tian closing his eyes, they all revealed looks of excitement. Some of the students even started discussing among themselves. How arrogant! The patriarch is at the early stage of the manifestation realm, yet he dares to be careless when fighting him. That's right. I'm not surprised that Mu Tian was able to defeat Patriarch Guillermo. After all, Patriarch Guillermo is at the half-step to manifestation realm, but Patriarch Guillermo is at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Mu Tian is clearly courting death by doing this. Everyone, keep your eyes open. Don't miss. What? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, the crowd of students began to discuss. However, before the last mid-primal core disciple could finish his sentence, his eyes widened in disbelief. Mu Feng's iron-like fist actually passed through Mu Tian's body. Afterimage. When the palm passed through Mu Tian's body, Mu Feng's expression changed greatly as he hurriedly retreated. Because even he didn't know exactly when Mu Tian had vanished. The fact that Mu Tian was able to hide from his eyes and senses meant that Mu Tian was very powerful. At the very least, he had to be extremely careful. Otherwise, he would be doomed. What happened next caused Mu Feng's mouth to gape slightly as he stood rooted to the ground. Unknowingly, Mu Tian had already appeared behind him. Mu Tian's right hand pushed out horizontally and smashed onto Mu Feng's back. It looked like an ordinary palm, but it was extremely powerful. Dark red blood spurted out from Mu Feng's mouth. After the blood spurted out, Mu Feng's aura dropped rapidly. In just a few seconds, Mu Feng's aura dropped from the early stage of the manifestation stage to the primal core stage. At this moment, Mu Feng's appearance was extremely miserable. Not only was his face devoid of blood, but it even gradually turned black. In the end, his entire face was extremely black. Even when he fought with the powerhouses from the Blood God Palace, Mu Feng didn't end up in such a state. It could be said that Mu Feng's current situation was the most miserable and depressing he had ever been since he advanced to the early stage of the manifestation stage. Sigh, what a pity. Time's up. Mu Tian didn't care about Mu Feng's miserable appearance. He sighed lightly and said indifferently, I've already said that if I don't see Ouyang Luan in 3 minutes, I'll kill a Danwu College student every minute that passes. After that, Mu Tian's gaze slowly swept across the surrounding students. Finally, it stopped on a mid-primal core stage student. In the first minute, I'll start with you. Mu Tian's face was expressionless. After saying this, his body melted into the void. In an instant, Mu Tian appeared beside the mid-primal core stage martial artist. Bang! Mu Tian threw a punch directly at the mid-primal core stage student's chest, causing him to retreat more than 10 steps. Oh yes, I've said that I'll kill a student every minute. I'm a man of my word. It hasn't even been a minute, so I'll let him live for now. In another 30 seconds I'll kill him. Mu Tian didn't use his full strength in this punch. In fact, he only used less than 5% of his strength. But even so, the mid-primal core stage student couldn't withstand it, and his aura was extremely weak. The rest of the Danwu College students, and even the Danwu College tutors, didn't dare to step forward to help after seeing the miserable state of this mid-primal core stage student. The situation was already very clear. Whoever stepped forward to help would also end up in the same miserable state. Tick-tock, time passed second by second. 30 seconds. Every second that passed was like a stone pounding on the hearts of the crowd. Especially the mid-primal core stage student who had fallen to the ground. His face was deathly pale. These 30 seconds might be the last of his life. Dean, it'll be too late if we delay any longer. Patriarch Guillermo said hurriedly from afar. Patriarch Guillermo knew that Mu Feng wasn't the strongest person in Danwu College. Only Mu Feng could call out the strongest person in Danwu College. The others didn't have the slightest idea what to do. Wait a little longer. Mu Feng's expression was solemn as he said in a low voice, I'll call for help in the last 10 seconds. In fact, Mu Feng was also helpless. Patriarch Guillermo didn't know the full story. Although the strongest person in Danwu College was powerful, he had only agreed to help Danwu College 3 times. Out of the 3 times, 2 had already been used. If the 3rd time was used, Danwu College might be besieged by various forces for a long time to come. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, unless it was a life-and-death juncture, or the moment when the Danwu Academy was completely annihilated, Mu Feng would not use the third chance. Dean, there's actually another way. Patriarch Jiuemo gritted his teeth. Ouyang Luan is in the pill cavern. Why don't I inform Ning Yu and ask him to bring Ouyang Luan out? It's too late. Patriarch Jiuemo took a deep breath and murmured, the pill cavern is quite far from here. 20 seconds won't be enough for a round trip. Even if it's not enough, we can't just sit and wait. We have to try. If Ouyang Luan had come a minute earlier, Danwu College would have lost one Sacred Institute student. Patriarch Jiuemo said fiercely. All right, go and come back quickly. I'll try to delay Mu Tianyi for another 2 minutes. Mu Feng nodded heavily. In fact, Mu Feng had long disliked Ouyang Luan. Chapter 736. No one could blame him. Please wait a moment. When Patriarch Jiuemo heard Mu Feng agree to his request, he hurriedly tore through the void and headed for the pill cavern. However, before Patriarch Jiuemo could tear through the void, an indifferent voice rang in his ears. Swish. Patriarch Jiuemo gritted his teeth when he heard the familiar voice. He stomped his feet and shot into the distance. Humph. I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. Mu Tian snorted when he saw Patriarch Jiuemo defy him. A cold light shot out from his sleeve. The cold light was extremely fast, and it arrived before Patriarch Jiuemo in the blink of an eye. Patriarch Jiuemo's expression turned grave when he saw the cold light. He hurriedly summoned the origin energy in his sea of consciousness and wrapped it around his wrist. Then, he sent out a palm print. The palm print was very small at first, but it gradually expanded as it moved forward. In the end, it expanded by several times. Chi. Moreover, the friction between the palm print and the void produced a sizzling sound. Crack. Even though Patriarch Jiuemo had used all his strength to execute this palm print, which had practically emptied out all the origin energy in his sea of consciousness, it was of no use. In an instant, the palm print shattered with a loud bang. Bang. Poochie. Then, 2 crisp sounds suddenly rang out. The first sound came from Patriarch Jiuemo crashing into the ground. The second sound came from Patriarch Jiuemo spitting out a mouthful of blood. The 2 sounds indicated that old ancestor Jiuemo had been gravely injured. Damn it! Mu Feng's face darkened when he saw Patriarch Jiuemo's miserable state. He couldn't help but berate, Mu Tian, don't go too far. Don't think that Danwu College has no one. Oh, I never said that Danwu College has no one. Mu Tian revealed a strange expression. Then, he changed the topic and said coldly, what I meant was that everyone from Danwu College is trash. Why? Are you not satisfied that I said that Danwu College is trash? Seeing the angry expressions on the faces of the surrounding cultivators, Mu Tian continued, if anyone is not convinced, you can come out and have a match with me. As long as you can withstand 3 of my moves, no, as long as you can withstand 1 of my moves, I will admit my mistake and take out a medicinal pill to treat those 2 pieces of trash. As he spoke, Mu Tian pointed at Patriarch Jiuemo and Li Tongtian. His meaning was clear. Despite Mu Tian's words, no one dared to come forward and fight him. What a joke, even old ancestor Jiuemo wasn't Mu Tian's match, and Mu Feng was defeated in a single move. Fighting with Mu Tian at this time was tantamount to courting death. All right, since you're all cowards, don't blame me. Seeing that no one had any intention of making a move, Mu Tian shrugged his shoulders and walked towards the fallen mid-primal core stage practitioner. As he walked, Mu Tian said, actually, I didn't want to kill you, but the time was up and no one was willing to save you. I had no choice but to kill you. Don't come looking for me after you die. If you want to blame someone, blame the students of Danwu College, the tutor, the dean. Actually, he doesn't need to blame anyone. Before Mu Tian's words faded, an indifferent voice slowly echoed from afar. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In the next moment, 4 figures sped past the entrance of the square and landed in the middle of the square. Ning Yu. Ouyang Luan. The sudden appearance of several figures caused 2 exclamations in the square. The first exclamation was from Mu Feng. The second exclamation was naturally from Mu Tian. Crack crack. Ning Yu's face darkened as he saw the miserable state of Mu Feng, Patriarch Jiuemo, and Li Tongtian. His hands were clenched so tightly that they cracked. The reason why Ning Yu could arrive at the square so quickly was all because of Ouyang Luan. Not long after Mu Feng left the pill cavern, Ouyang Luan hurriedly found Ning Yu and told him that the mysterious martial artist from the royal family had come to Danwu College. Moreover, Ouyang Luan said that the mysterious man had a bad temper and was eccentric. If he couldn't find Suemo, he would most likely start a massacre. Therefore, Ning Yu could only leave the Dark Emperor and Furball in the pill cavern while he left with the silver-winged dragon and the rest. To be on the safe side, Ning Yu also left the flower bud in the pill cavern. After all, there was a pill puppet in the pill cavern. If the pill puppet attacked the Dark Emperor and Furball, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ouyang Luan, get over here. Just as Ning Yu was deep in thought, Mu Tian broke the silence and scolded, If you make me unhappy, I will flatten the capital and the royal family. Ouyang Luan heard Mu Tian's words and stood still without any intention of moving. Ouyang Luan's reaction made Mu Tian's face turn ugly. In his opinion, Ouyang Luan must have forgotten his strength. Otherwise, he would not dare to disobey him. Don't say No matter what you say, Ouyang Luan will not go over. Ning Yu waved his hand and signaled Mu Tian to stop wasting his energy. So, Ouyang Luan has been subdued by you? Mu Tian said darkly. Whether Ouyang Luan has been subdued by me or not has nothing to do with you, right? There were many people here, and Ning Yu did not want everyone to know that he had subdued Ouyang Luan. Therefore, he said indifferently, Moreover, Ouyang Luan is the old ancestor of the royal family. If he was easily subdued by a martial artist in the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm, I'm afraid the royal family would have changed a long time ago. You are indeed arrogant, but I don't know if you have the capital to be arrogant, Mu Tian said coldly. As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, he stomped his feet on the ground and dashed out in an instant. Swoosh! Mu Tian's speed was very fast, and he arrived at Ning Yu's side almost in an instant. Then, Mu Tian's fist brought an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale, and it fiercely smashed towards Ning Yu's head. Mu Tian did not look down on Ning Yu, because when Ning Yu saw him, although he showed a strong anger, he was still very calm. It should be known that even a martial artist in the initial stage of Fate Realm would not be so calm when he saw him. Therefore, Mu Tian concluded that Ning Yu was not simple. Mu Tian always used his full strength to deal with powerful geniuses, and he would not hold back. As soon as Mu Feng made his move, Ning Yu's face turned solemn, and he did not dare to have the slightest neglect. In the next moment, a violent Yuan Qi fluctuation appeared on Ning Yu's wrist, and it collided with Mu Tian's fist. Bang! The two fists collided, and a muffled sound suddenly rang out. Then, the two figures retreated backward. Mu Tian took 3 to 4 steps back before he stabilized his body. As for Ning Yu, he only stopped after taking 5 steps back. Just from the surface, it was clear who was superior to the other in this strike. However, only Ning Yu and Mu Tian knew the exact situation of the battle. His strength is so strong, to be able to block a punch with 50% of my strength. Mu Tian's eyes revealed a hint of shock, but this shock disappeared in a flash, and no one saw it. I used 40% of my strength, and this martial artist should have used 50% of his strength. After this move, although it was difficult for Ning Yu to judge Mu Tian's true strength, Ning Yu could be sure of one thing. Chapter 737. Men of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. To think that someone would be able to block my attack in a place as remote as the Great Xia Kingdom. Not simple indeed. Mu Tian rubbed his slightly swollen wrist and said calmly, "You're strong and talented. It would be such a waste not to be my follower." "You want me to be your follower? Have you lost your mind or are you suffering from epilepsy?" Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ningyu let out a look of disdain, not giving Mu Tian any face at all. I, Mu Tian, love dealing with people who think they're infallible. Mu Tian wasn't angry as he continued, "I have 100 ways to kill anyone who dares to go against me." "You want to kill Ningyu? Have you asked us?" Before Ningyu could refute Mu Tian's arrogant words, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast beside him couldn't take it anymore. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were infuriated. Kill Ningyu? This was clearly a joke. To the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Ningyu was a moving Xingyang pill manufacturing machine. As long as Ningyu was around, they could continue extorting Xingyang pills. Furthermore, not only did Ningyu owe them 2 Xingyang pills each, he had also promised to give them each a manifestation elixir. The manifestation elixir and Xingyang pill were indispensable items for them to break through to the early stage of the manifestation realm. If Ningyu were to be killed, who could they reason with? Therefore, they couldn't allow Mu Tian to kill Ningyu. 2 trash demon beasts who haven't even reached the early stage of the manifestation realm dare to talk to me? Mu Tian snorted coldly as his body gradually turned illusory. Watch out. Seeing Mu Tian's body turn illusory, Ningyu knew that something bad was about to happen. Remember this in your next life. There are some people that trash demon beasts like you cannot afford to offend. As expected, the moment Ningyu's warning left his mouth, Mu Tian appeared behind the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Bam! Bam! Mu Tian attacked with both his hands at the same time. 2 fists containing berserk yuan qi landed on the backs of the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. The silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast fell forward to the ground, as if they were the Grim Reaper. Puff! Puff! The metallic taste in their throats caused the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to spit out blood, their auras instantly dropping to the freezing point. TSK, TSK, TSK. I was wondering how formidable you all were, but it turns out that this is bad. Mu Tian was just about to mock them when his face warped in horror, because he discovered that the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast had disappeared for no reason. In the next moment, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast appeared at Mu Tian's side. One in front and one behind, 2 rays of cold light that contained monstrous energy shot towards Mu Tian at an astonishing speed. At such a close distance, Mu Tian was naturally unable to effectively defend himself. He could only use his physical body to block the 2 beams of cold light. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. Even after withstanding such a powerful sneak attack from the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Mu Tian still looked as if nothing had happened, standing in place unscathed. Retreat! The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were rather rational. Seeing that their sneak attack had failed, they hurriedly tore through the void and flew to Ningyu's side. "Ningyu, this is too difficult. We can't deal with it. I'll leave it to you," the silver-winged dragon said in a low voice. "If it really doesn't work, then let's retreat. Where there's life, there's hope." The twin-horned beast was very open-minded and suggested to retreat from Danwu College. Retreat? Where do you think you're retreating to? Mu Tian's ears were very sharp. The twin-horned beast's whisper naturally did not escape his ears. "So your name is Ningyu. Very well, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me and become my follower, my dog. Not only will I spare your life, but I'll also release the many elders and students of Danwu College." "Oh right. Not only will you be my dog, but that old trash Ouyang Luan will also enjoy the same treatment as you." Mu Tian continued, how about it? You have 1 minute to consider. When the time is up, don't blame me for not giving you face. Are you that confident that you can defeat me? Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian directly. Instead, he said, you're in the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm, and so am I. Hold on. How can your middle stage of Yin-Yang realm compare to me? Forget it. It seems that the move just now has given you a lot of confidence. I'll let you know what true strength is. As soon as the word strength fell, Mu Tian stomped on the ground and flipped his wrist. A black flying sword appeared in his hand. Ningyu, watch carefully. I'll take your life with this sword. Swoosh. As Mu Tian roared, a shocking sword wave was slashed out from the sky. Chi. Wherever the sword wave passed, even the air was compressed and sizzled. The surrounding students felt the violent primordial chi contained in the sword wave and quickly retreated, staying away from the area. The fourth style of the Supreme Nine Purities Sword Art, 9 Purities Sword Wave. He's from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Looking at the huge sword wave that was constantly attacking him, Ningyu's eyes narrowed and revealed a look of disbelief. As soon as Mu Tian executed the sword wave, Ningyu could tell that it was the fourth style of the Supreme Nine Purities Sword Art, 9 Purities Sword Wave. Generally speaking, it was almost impossible for outsiders to obtain a supreme offensive technique like the Supreme Nine Purities Sword Art. Ningyu concluded that the Mu Tian in front of him was most likely someone from the Grand Nine Purities Palace. Let's test him. Although the Nine Purities sword wave that Mu Tian executed was powerful, Ningyu was more familiar with it and knew how to counter it. Therefore, Mu Tian's sword wave couldn't hurt Ningyu. In order to confirm his guess, Ningyu decided to test Mu Tian to see if he was from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and what kind of relationship he had with the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Palm of Life and Death. Ningyu took a deep breath and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness surged and wrapped around his palm. Then, Ningyu withdrew his palm and Yuan Qi that was even more violent than the sword wave appeared on the palm. Crack! The Nine Purities sword wave that Mu Tian executed was only the fourth style of the Supreme Nine Purities sword art, while the Palm of Life and Death that Ningyu executed was the sixth style of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. The result was obvious. A cracking sound could be heard as Mu Tian's 9 clear sword ripple was instantly split in half. After shattering the sword wave, the blood-colored palm did not stop. It continued to attack, wanting to kill Mu Tian. Humph! You think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my power? Seeing that the Nine Purities sword wave was shattered, Mu Tian snorted and waved the flying sword in his hand again. In an instant, an even larger sword wave appeared in the air and collided with the blood-colored palm in the air. Crack! Crack! This time, the palm and the sword wave were evenly matched. Neither could do anything to the other and both dissipated between heaven and earth. He should be from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Seeing the second sword wave that Mu Tian executed, Ningyu could basically confirm that Mu Tian was from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Absolute Sword Wave. Chapter 738. Chapter 738 Turning into a Trick. Ningyu, the palm attack you just performed should be your strongest move at this stage, right? Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and said sinisterly, I'm not afraid to tell you that the 2 sword waves are just the appetizer. The main event is coming up next. After saying that, the vitality in Mu Tian's consciousness surged out and was injected into the black flying sword in his hand. Buzz! As the vitality continued to be injected, the black flying sword in Mu Tian's hand vibrated slightly. If I'm not mistaken, Mu Tian is going to perform the 6th form of the Supreme Nine Purity sword skill, Solitaire. Ningyu knew what Mu Tian was going to do as soon as he stuck his butt out. However, the power of Mu Tian's 9 Purity sword wave and absolute sword wave was just SOSO. In fact, they were not even as powerful as Ning Yu's. Therefore, Ning Yu was not worried that Mu Tian would perform solitaire. At most, Mu Tian had only cultivated solitaire to the extreme. Swoosh! However, what happened next completely overturned Ning Yu's understanding. In the air, an unusually huge sword wave was formed. Solitaire. Looking at the huge sword wave in the air, Ning Yu's pupils contracted and he wore a look of disbelief. In fact, it was no wonder that Ning Yu was dumbfounded. Not only was the sword wave much bigger than what he had performed, but its power was also on a different level. At that moment, Ning Yu thought of a possibility. Could it be that I haven't cultivated solitaire to the extreme? Ning Yu thought that he had cultivated solitaire to the extreme. However, it seemed like he was wrong, extremely wrong. Judging from the solitaire that Mu Tian had performed, he had only grasped the surface of solitaire. He had not even reached the beginner level. This was King awkward. Alright, I want to see what's so special about your solitaire. Since he didn't know much about solitaire, Ning Yu decided to take the risk and observe Mu Tian's solitaire up close. Because only in this way could he improve further and cultivate solitaire to the extreme. Although Ning Yu had such thoughts, he was not a fool. He knew that he had to protect himself. Xiao. While rushing towards the huge sword wave, Ning Yu released all of his soul power and stuck it on the surface of his body. Not only that, Ning Yu also controlled the essence qi in his sea of consciousness to form a hidden protective barrier around his body, forming the first line of defense. With 2 layers of protection, Ning Yu dared to charge toward the sword wave without any fear. He wanted to get to the bottom of it. Not only did the students in the plaza not notice the 2 layers of protection that Ning Yu had set up, even Mu Tian did not notice anything amiss. Overestimating yourself. Mu Tian cupped his fists and kept the black flying sword. His eyes emitted a frightening radiance. Whoosh! Mu Tian didn't have much of a reaction, but the students in the plaza were in an uproar. What is Ning Yu going to do? Does he think that he can resist the sword wave with his bare hands? Crazy, Ning Yu must be crazy. Old Dean, hurry and stop Ning Yu. He's clearly courting death by doing this. Ning Yu's sudden reaction caused a commotion among the students in the plaza. In the end, there was even a student who reminded Mu Feng to stop Ning Yu. At this moment, Mu Feng was really suffering in silence. After being heavily injured by Mu Tian, his aura had dropped to the freezing point, and he couldn't recover. He didn't know what Mu Tian did to him, but no matter how he recovered, no matter what elixirs he took, it was of no use. What is this kid doing? In a corner of the plaza, Silver-Winged Dragon frowned, puzzled. How would I know what he's doing? But don't worry, Ning Yu is a smart kid. He definitely won't do something he's not confident in. The twin-horned beast curled its lips. That's true. Silver-Winged Dragon thought about it, and felt that what the twin-horned beast said made sense. Ever since they knew Ning Yu, it seemed that Ning Yu had never truly fallen into a dangerous situation. This time, it seemed that Ning Yu was in danger, but there was actually something fishy. After all, with Ning Yu's strength, if he wanted to run, he could definitely escape. Since Ning Yu wanted to take the risk, it naturally meant that he had his reasons. Crack! While everyone was still discussing, in midair, Ning Yu had already arrived in front of Solitaire. 1 second before Ning Yu arrived in front of Solitaire, the next second, the first line of defense around him, the Yuan Qi light shield, was directly crushed by the terrifying pressure. I have some idea. The shattering of the Yuan Qi light shield did not stop Ning Yu from continuing forward. He discovered a clue, discovered that the solitaire that Mu Tian used was slightly different from the one he used. Ning Yu decided to continue forward, to observe solitaire from a closer distance. Crack, crack, as Ning Yu advanced without any regard for the consequences, it caused the Yuan Qi light shield around him to completely shatter. Whoosh! Ning Yu would not let this Yuan Qi go to waste. He opened his mouth and sucked the yuan qi back into his body. Qi. As Ning Yu absorbed the yuan qi, his body continued to advance. This time, what was destroyed was the second line of defense formed by the late-stage 6th grade soul force. I know, it's the soul force. Just before the second line of defense was completely destroyed, Ning Yu's eyes revealed a shocked expression, and he hurriedly retreated. Rumble. If it were not for Ning Yu's quick retreat, he would probably have been seriously injured. Because he did not retreat far, Solitaire suddenly exploded, a huge shock wave spreading in all directions. Although Ning Yu had left a step earlier, he was also the person in this area closest to the explosion, so naturally, he was affected the most. Suffering the impact of the Solitaire's explosion, although Ning Yu was prepared, he still spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his aura was slightly weakened. However, compared to the students around the square, the weakening of Ning Yu's aura was negligible. "Oh, my hand! My leg! My eyes, I can't see, Around the square, most of the students with low cultivation were paralyzed on the ground, some covering their hands, some covering their legs. There were even some students covering their eyes. Obviously, these students were affected by the shock wave of the Solitaire's explosion, and they suffered unprecedented injuries. Ning Yu, don't force yourself. Even in the Grand Supreme, even in my sect, the power of this sword wave can be ranked in the top 5. The corner of Mu Tian's mouth curled up slightly, and he smiled sinisterly. If you can't take it, kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. That way, I can give you a quick death, and you won't die for no reason. Cough, cough. Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly coughed twice. In order to make it seem more realistic, Ning Yu covered his mouth with his hand, and even coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Oh no, Ning Yu is injured. Seeing Ning Yu coughing out blood, Mu Feng's heart sank to the bottom. The current situation was obvious. As long as Ning Yu could not defeat Mu Tian, everyone would be finished. Chapter 739. Defeat you, we can't wait any longer. We have to inform the senior. Mu Feng gritted his teeth and forced out a few drops of blood essence to burn despite his heavily injured body. Chi. While he was burning his blood essence, Mu Feng said in a low voice, "Senior, I've decided to use the third chance now. Please step forward and kill Mu Tian immediately." After Mu Feng finished speaking, he anxiously waited, hoping that the so-called senior would appear as soon as possible. Now is not the time for me to act. Let's wait a little longer. After a while, a powerful voice resounded in Mu Feng's mind. What the hell are we waiting for? If we wait any longer, Ning Yu will be killed. Mu Feng said anxiously and even cursed. Ning Yu won't be defeated so easily. The vigorous voice continued, "Let me give you a heads up first. This time, it is not just Mu Tian who came to the Danwu Academy." Whoosh. Hearing the voice in his head, Mu Feng's heart thumped. "Senior, it seems that there is another heaven-defying existence hidden in Danwu College?" Thinking of this, Mu Feng's face turned ashen. He was the old dean of Danwu College, the guardian of all the students of Danwu College. In the hearts of Danwu College's students, as long as he was around, outsiders wouldn't dare to behave atrociously in Danwu College. Now, he could only rely on Ning Yu to support himself. Failure. What a failure! As the dean of Danwu College, Mu Feng felt that he was a failure. After this incident, he decided to abdicate his position and let Ning Yu take over the position of dean. Of course, this was all for later. The most important thing now was whether or not Ning Yu would compromise. "Mu Tian, you are indeed very strong." Ning Yu took out a piece of cloth from his bosom and wiped the blood on his palm. He said lightly, "You want me to kneel down and kowtow to you? That's not impossible." Voila! When Ning Yu said this, the faces of the surrounding students turned ashen, looking extremely unsightly. "However, I have a request." Ningyu didn't care about the reactions of the students around him. He changed the topic and said, "Before I kneel before you, I want to see you use solitaire one more time." "What? You know that I executed the solitary sword surge." Mu Tian's eyes widened when he heard Ningyu's words, and he berated, "Speak. Who the hell are you?" Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian. Instead, he pretended to drag his tired body forward step by step. "Humph! You will pay for your arrogance." Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Mu Tian harumphed coldly and dashed out. Mu Tian's speed was very fast. He arrived at Ningyu's side almost in the blink of an eye. "Since you want me to perform the solitary sword wave again, I'll perform it for you to see." Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and instantly slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. In Mu Tian's opinion, he didn't need to use his full strength to deal with the severely injured Ningyu. A solitaire with 50% of its strength was enough to kill Ningyu. "Hee Mu Tian, you've been tricked." Sensing that the power of Mu Tian's solitaire had been reduced by half, Ningyu grinned and his aura suddenly exploded. "Today, I'll let you know that you're not the only one who can use solitaire. I can do it too." As soon as he finished his sentence, a blood-red flying sword appeared in Ningyu's hand. Under Mu Tian's shocked gaze, Ningyu also slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. Pust pust pust. However, the sword wave that Ningyu slashed out was obviously more powerful than Mu Tian's. In fact, it was much more powerful. "What? You can also use solitaire? This is impossible." Mu Tian was dumbfounded. Before he came to the Great Xia Kingdom, if someone told him that he would meet a martial artist who could use solitaire in the Great Xia Kingdom, he would probably give that person a slap. However, some things always happened in an inexplicable and unexpected manner. No, 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 no. Could it be that person's son? Suddenly, Mu Tian seemed to have thought of a possibility. His expression instantly changed from being dumbfounded to ecstasy. Crack! The ecstasy on Mu Tian's face didn't last for long as he was attracted by a cracking sound. In midair, the two solitaire collided with each other. Although Mu Tian had a deeper understanding of solitaire, he only used 50% of his strength, while Ningyu used his full strength. Under such circumstances, the solitaire that he executed was directly shattered. At the crucial moment, Mu Tian waved the flying sword in his hand continuously, trying to slash out solitaire again. The ideal was great, but the reality was harsh. Before Mu Tian could slash out solitaire, he realized that the space in front of him was surging. Immediately after, the space was completely torn apart, and a figure rushed out from within. Swoosh! The figure that rushed out from the space was none other than Ningyu. Ningyu took advantage of the moment when Mu Tian let his guard down to use the red devil sword to quietly tear through the void and come to Mu Tian's side. Ningyu gathered all the essence in his sea of consciousness on his wrist. He threw a punch that brought along a monstrous force of essence and punched at Mu Tian's chest. To be honest, if Ningyu didn't know that Mu Tian's mother in this life was from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he wouldn't have punched at Mu Tian's chest. Instead, he would have punched at Mu Tian's heart. Poof! Mu Tian's reaction was already very fast, but Ningyu was even faster. Before he could react, Ningyu's fist had already hit his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Mu Tian to feel a sweetness in his throat. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Crack crack! After spitting out the blood, Mu Tian first clenched his fists, then wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said viciously, "Ningyu, I'm going to tear you into pieces just because of this punch. There are many people who want to tear me into pieces, but you're not the only one." Ningyu automatically ignored Mu Tian's words and said calmly, "If you weren't from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, my punch just now would have been enough to take your life." Take my life? Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing me, let alone you. Mu Tian snorted coldly. Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing you? Ningyu thought that Mu Tian was joking. Given Mu Tian's current state, any martial artist in the Yuan Dan realm could kill him, let alone a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm. Ningyu couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Mu Tian. To deal with such a person, he should at least let him have a taste of pain. Otherwise, who would pay for the pain that Li Tongtian, Mu Feng, and the rest had suffered? I'd like to see what makes you so arrogant. Ningyu wasn't the kind of person who only talked and did not do anything. He would do what he said. The next moment, he stomped on the ground and charged towards Mu Tian at a shocking speed. Looking at the approaching Ningyu, Mu Tian crossed his arms in front of his chest. He had no intention of resisting. It was as though he had Ningyu in his grasp. Mu Tian's reaction was a little out of Ningyu's expectations. Oh no. Chapter 740. The first move, **T. Ningyu's expression changed drastically when he sensed the violent gust of wind in front of him. This turn of events had obviously exceeded his expectations. He had not expected a powerful cultivator to be hiding in the surroundings. Being able to hide from his senses meant that the other party's cultivation base was very high. There was no time for him to think about these messy things. Ningyu raised his right hand and a violent wave of yuan qi appeared in his palm. Then, with a piercingly cold, murderous intent, it exploded. To be on the safe side, Ningyu had even wrapped his advanced stage 6th grade soul power and the azure spiritual fire that he had not used for a long time around his fist. Against a powerful cultivator, he had to give it his all. Otherwise, he would die a horrible death. Crack! In the next moment, the two fists collided and a crisp sound rang out in the area. After the attack, Ningyu hurriedly took a few steps back. He glared at the gray-robed elder and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" Although it was a hasty exchange, Ningyu could basically tell that the elder before him was very powerful. His cultivation base was at least in the mid-stage of the manifestation realm. However, Ningyu was a little confused. Logically speaking, it was difficult for a mid-stage manifestation realm cultivator to hide from his senses. Could there be another cultivator hiding in the void? It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you have offended young Master Mu Tian, so you must pay the price. The gray-robed elder laughed sinisterly. I'll give you two choices now. 1. Cripple your own hands, kneel down and admit your mistake. 2. Pay 1. Stop talking. No matter what, I will take Ningyu's life today. Mu Tian interrupted the gray-robed elder with a vicious expression. Young Master Mu Tian, this kid is protected. You can't kill him. The gray-robed man called Pei Wen purposely lowered his voice and said, Don't go overboard. Otherwise, we might die at Danwu College. Impossible. Hearing this, Mu Tian's eyes widened as he said coldly, Elder who is a pinnacle expert. Not to mention Danwu College, even in the entire Great Xia Kingdom, there is no one who can go against him. Although you don't believe me, it is the truth. Leave this matter to me. Don't interfere. I promise to give you a satisfactory explanation, Pei Wen said. In fact, Pei Wen felt helpless. His cultivation level was indeed at the middle stage of the blessed realm, and he seemed to be the strongest person present. But reality was different. In terms of cultivation, he was only the third strongest in this area, because there were two terrifying auras hidden in the void. The first terrifying aura came from Hu Jian, Elder Hu of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. The second terrifying aura came from the depths of Danwu College. As for its strength, it was likely that even Elder Hu was a little afraid of it. Otherwise, with Elder Hu's character, he would surely not give such a kind reminder. After all, in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Elder Hu was famous for his bad temper. Pei Wen, I'll tell you a secret. Mu Tian also knew that Pei Wen would not speak nonsense. He rolled his eyes and decided to come up with a plan to use Pei Wen. What secret? Pei Wen was puzzled. Mu Tian moved slightly closer to Pei Wen and whispered a few words in his ear. What? No one knew what Mu Tian said to Pei Wen, but it made Pei Wen jump. At the same time, Pei Wen stared at Ningyu with a burning gaze like a hungry wolf staring at a wild rabbit. After all, Pei Wen was a middle-stage blessed realm martial artist, so he tried his best to control himself and asked, "Is the news reliable?" "Absolutely. You won't get another chance if you miss this one. Think about it carefully." Mu Tian said this and did not say anything else. "Alright. 1 second. Pei Wen only thought for 1 second, and he had decided on a major matter. Before the burning look on his face disappeared, Pei Wen turned to stare at Ningyu and said, "I've changed my mind. As long as you can take 3 moves from me, I'll let you live." "You want me to take 3 moves from you?" Ningyu frowned, not knowing what Pei Wen was up to. Ningyu agreed to it. Just as Ningyu was secretly thinking, the Red Fiend's voice sounded in his mind. "But you have to change the rules. You have to use a sword for these 3 moves." "I have to use a sword?" Ningyu's heart skipped a beat as he asked in confusion. "That's right. This mid-stage blessed realm martial artist clearly wants you dead. In that case, you might as well make use of his mentality and attack first." The Red Fiend nodded. "Hey kid, be more straightforward." Ningyu still wanted to say something, but Pei Wen seemed a little impatient. He said, "This is your only chance to live. If you miss it then, don't be long-winded. Isn't it just 3 moves? I'll agree to it." Ningyu first interrupted Pei Wen's words, then immediately changed the topic and said, "But I have a request. We have to use a sword for these 3 moves." "Use a sword? I don't care what you use. In short, 3 moves. If I block it, I'll live, but if I don't, I'll die." Pei Wen did not care what these 3 moves were used. To him, anything could easily kill Ningyu. It was just that, in order to not be discovered, Pei Wen decided to use his full strength in the second move and kill Ningyu. This way, even if that powerhouse from Danwu College wanted to make a move to stop it, it would be too late. Moreover, Hu Jian would definitely not look on with folded arms when the powerhouse from Danwu College made a move. By the time a victor was decided, Ningyu would have long been killed until not even dregs remained. Swoosh! In the next instant, Pei Wen took out a flying sword from his bosom. The flying sword was silvery white in color, containing violent essence energy undulations. A peak low-grade king-rank flying sword. The flying sword Pei Wen utilized was a peak low-grade king-rank flying sword, and its might was extremely formidable. With the peak low-grade king-rank flying sword in hand, Pei Wen arrived before Ningyu with a few leaps, and then he slashed out with his sword towards Ningyu's head. "First move!" Pei Wen shouted loudly. Swish! When they saw Pei Wen's mighty sword strike, the eyes of the surrounding students opened wide, and they revealed astounded expressions. How could Ningyu possibly resist the full strength of an intermediate-stage creation realm martial artist? For a time, everyone looked down upon Ningyu, and it was even to the extent that some students started sighing. "Alas, it's over, it's completely over. I originally thought that Ningyu could become the savior of the world, but who would have imagined that Ningyu isn't inferior to this powerhouse? Ningyu has already done very well, but it's a pity that this powerhouse possesses a cultivation at the intermediate stage of the creation realm. Right, if Ningyu advances to the creation realm, then he can surely become the guardian of Danwu College." "What?" The last student hadn't finished speaking when his mouth opened slightly while his pupils opened wide, and he seemed as if he'd seen something unbelievable. Everyone's gazes moved along the direction of this student's palm towards the center of the battlefield. Swoosh! It was fine if they didn't look, but once they did, it directly caused all the students to be dumbstruck on the spot. Crack! At the center of the battlefield, Ningyu held the red devil sword in his hand as he slashed down from midair. A clear sound resounded out, and the outcome caused Pei Wen to be shocked. Exactly what flying sword is that in Ning Yu's hand? It actually slashed apart my low-grade king-rank flying sword. Chapter 741. To refrain from shooting the rat for fear of harming the innocent. At the thought of this, Pei Wen's face burned with passion. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the creation realm. If he could obtain a royal-grade flying sword, he could even fight against martial artists at the late stage of the creation realm, or even at the peak of the creation realm. May I ask, what's your name? Just as Pei Wen was feeling ecstatic, Ning Yu's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Pei Wen answered instinctively. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Pei Wen's pupils constricted, and he wanted to retreat. This was because he realized that Ning Yu had already appeared beside him at some point in time. At this moment, he was holding a red flying sword and stabbing it straight at his heart. At such a close distance, coupled with the fact that Pei Wen was completely defenseless, there was naturally no way for him to dodge. Puff! Ning Yu gripped the red demon sword in his hand and stabbed out, piercing right into Pei Wen's heart. Hong Mo, don't leave anyone alive. Ning Yu was no saint. Pei Wen had already made it very clear that he wanted to kill him. If he still showed mercy, it would definitely be somewhat inexcusable. Therefore, after succeeding in his attack, Ning Yu instructed the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend's sword. Kill him. Actually, there was no need for Ning Yu to say that. The moment the Red Fiend's sword pierced Pei Wen's heart, the Red Fiend controlled the Red Fiend's sword to unleash a powerful devouring force that frantically devoured Pei Wen. Chi. The devouring power of the Red Demon's sword was extremely terrifying. Although Mu Feng and old ancestor Jiao Mo had witnessed the power of the Red Demon's sword in the forbidden area of Danwu College, they still felt a lingering fear when they saw this familiar scene. As for the surrounding students, they stood rooted to the ground, dumbfounded. In just a few seconds, a martial artist in the intermediate stage of the creation realm was killed just like that. Moreover, this martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm had died in an extremely cruel manner. Only his skeleton was left lying flat on the ground. Ning Yu, you killed Pei Wen. The person who was most shocked by Pei Wen's death was none other than Mu Tian. Mu Tian would never have imagined that Pei Wen, who was in the middle stage of the blessed realm, would actually die at the hands of Ning Yu, and in such a brutal manner. He's just a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm. So what if he's dead? What's there to be surprised about? Ning Yu shrugged and said calmly, don't worry. Now that Pei Wen is dead, you'll be next. Do you really think you can kill me? Suddenly, Mu Tian became abnormally calm, terrifyingly calm. I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. Ning Yu didn't care if Mu Tian was cold or not. To him, he had to capture Mu Tian alive. If they couldn't capture him alive, then they would kill him. Whoosh! Ning Yu flicked his wrist and recalled the red demon sword. Then, he tore through the void and charged toward Mu Tian. Looking at Ning Yu getting closer and closer, Mu Tian's lips curled into a smile. He actually closed his eyes in front of so many people. Has Mu Tian lost his mind? I guess so. He dares to close his eyes while fighting against Ning Yu. He must be tired of living. Pei Wen, who is in the middle stage of the manifestation realm, is no match for Ning Yu. Does Mu Tian think he can easily kill a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, Ning Yu's reaction was different from that of the other students. He was very careful. At the same time, he quietly released his perception. I'm going to kill him. After releasing his perception, Ning Yu immediately cursed, because he realized that an extremely powerful aura was flying toward him at high speed. Although this martial artist had yet to tear through the void and appear in front of everyone, Ning Yu could tell that this martial artist's cultivation was at least in the late stage of the manifestation realm. It was even possible that he had reached the peak of the manifestation realm. It was true that when the young were beaten, the old came. When the old were beaten, the one who was about to enter the grave came. The moment he sensed the powerful aura, Ningyu decided to flee. He fled at high speed. However, the second after Ningyu made the decision to flee, he realized that an equally terrifying aura was gradually appearing on the other side. I'm going all out. I have to capture Mu Tian first no matter what. Ningyu had heard from Mu Feng that there were martial artists in Danwu College who were more powerful than him. Now that two powerful auras had appeared at the same time, it was needless to say that one was the person behind Mu Tian, and the other was definitely a hidden powerhouse in Danwu College. Forgive and forget. Mu Tian is not someone you can offend. If you know what's good for you, you'd better stop. A powerful voice rang in Ningyu's ears. It shook Ningyu so much that he was on the verge of collapsing. However, Ningyu knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He would definitely not give up so easily. It's best that you don't interfere in the fight between the younger generation. After the powerful voice rang, faint laughter also rang in the area, directly dispelling the loud noise in Ningyu's ears, causing Ningyu to wake up completely. No! When Ningyu woke up, it was naturally Mu Tian's nightmare. At this moment, Mu Tian's heart was filled with mixed feelings, as if he had eaten **T. Mu Tian had placed all his hopes on Hu Jian. Now that Hu Jian was blocked, and he pretended to not resist, the result was obvious. Fresh blood spurted out. Mu Tian's aura dropped rapidly. In just a second, Mu Tian's aura dropped from the early stage of Yin-Yang realm to the true martial realm. When his aura dropped to the true martial realm, Mu Tian was like a little chick in Ningyu's hand. Hu Jian's expression was terrible. Mu Tian's position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple was very high. If he was killed in the Xia Kingdom, even if he returned, he would not be able to explain. Damn it! Danwu College also has a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. Hu Jian glanced at the old man beside him and cursed in his heart. Hu Jian was very helpless. As the saying went, a powerful dragon could not suppress a snake in its own territory. Moreover, he was not a powerful dragon, and his strength was at most on par with the old man. If they really fought, it was unknown who would win and who would lose. Seeing the old man appear, Mu Feng hurriedly sent a soul message. Senior, I have decided to use the third chance to kill this expert. Dean Mu, I can't fulfill your request. The old man took a deep breath and replied, The expert you want me to kill has a cultivation similar to mine. Similar to yours. Hearing the old man's words, Mu Feng's eyes widened. Similar to the old man's cultivation? Didn't that mean that this expert's cultivation had reached the peak of the manifestation realm? At this moment, a wave of despair rose in Mu Feng's heart. According to the agreement between Danwu College and the old man, after the third chance was used, the old man would leave Danwu College. As long as the old man left Danwu College, how could Danwu College resist this expert at the peak of the manifestation realm? Ningyu did not know the worries in Mu Feng's heart. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to control Mu Tian. As long as he could control Mu Tian, the martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm before him would definitely hesitate to attack. Ningyu, you saw it too. Hu Jian's cultivation is at the peak of the manifestation realm. If you kill me, he will definitely start a massacre in Danwu College. Chapter 742. A Foolproof Plan. Your father holds a high position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? If I remember correctly, other than the Palace Lord, there are also 9 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I wonder if your father is the Palace Lord or the Supreme Elder? Ningyu asked calmly. My father is one of the top 5 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Mu Tian said proudly, with my father's ability, Not only can he let you enter the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he can even make you an inner disciple. No, he can make you a core disciple. To me, this is indeed a great temptation. Ningyu took a deep breath and made a longing expression. Seeing that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Mu Tian's eyes flickered as he continued, Ningyu, your innate talent is one of the best even in the Supreme Nine Purities Palace. Why do you need to stay in a place like the Great Xia Kingdom where even birds don't shit? As long as you fall for it, I have 100 ways to kill you. Mu Tian snorted in his heart. Words are no proof. You have to show some sincerity, Ningyu said indifferently. What sincerity? Mu Tian raised his brows and asked doubtfully. It's very simple. Ningyu pointed at Mu Feng and the others not far away and said, You barged into the Dan Wu Academy indiscriminately and injured many students and instructors. Even the old dean was injured by you. We have to settle this score properly. I was wondering what it was. It's simple. Mu Tian waved his hand, not taking this matter to heart. He flicked his sleeve and a storage bag flew out. But Ningyu grabbed the storage bag and at the same time, sent a part of his perception into the storage bag. Just these few crystals? Are you sure you're not trying to get rid of a beggar? After a while, Ningyu retracted his perception and shook the storage bag in his hand with a cold expression. Pooh! Ningyu's words caused Mu Tian to spit out a mouthful of blood, leaving him stunned on the spot. Others might not know how many crystals were in the storage pouch, but Mu Tian was very clear about it. 1 million royal grade origin crystals. In order to obtain Ningyu's trust, Mu Tian gave Ningyu an entire 1 million royal grade essence crystals. Unexpectedly, Ningyu said it wasn't enough. Let's do it this way. Double the price and we'll write it off. Ningyu shrugged. Damn it! Mu Tian cursed. However, he had no choice but to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Moreover, he still had to gain Ningyu's trust. You can't catch the wolf without risking the child. You can't catch the tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. At this moment, Mu Tian did not know why he was bewitched, but he suddenly thought of this sentence. Here. Mu Tian pondered for a second. A second later, he threw another storage bag to Ningyu. Ningyu did not even check how many royal-grade origin crystals were in the storage bag and directly threw it into his storage ring. I've done everything according to what you said. Can you let me go now? Mu Tian said when he saw Ningyu keep the storage bag. Let you go? Why should I let you go? Ningyu's mouth opened slightly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He said with a smile, Your backer is a peak manifestation realm martial artist. Wouldn't I be courting death if I let you go? You're going back on your words. Mu Tian's expression darkened instantly as he said coldly. I never go back on my words because I never said that I would rely on you from the start. I just want you to show some sincerity. Your sincerity to Dean Mu is enough, but not to me, Ningyu said indifferently. What sincerity do you want? Mu Tian gritted his teeth and said, This amount. Ningyu extended a finger and said, If you want me to let you go, you need at least 10 million royal-grade origin crystals. Gasp! This request raised by Ningyu not only made Mu Tian suck in a breath of cold air, but even Hu Jian and the surrounding students also sucked in a breath of cold air. An exorbitant demand, truly an exorbitant start. Hu Jian's expression was similarly very ugly. Originally, he thought that Mu Tian could use royal-grade origin crystals to bribe Ningyu. Who could have thought that Ningyu was a wolf cub that could not be fed to his fill and was even more sinister and cunning than them? Since that was the case, Hu Jian decided to teach Ningyu a lesson. But before that, Hu Jian had to finish off the old man opposite him. Because the old man's cultivation was the same as his, both peak manifestation realm. The two were equally matched. Old man, I don't care who you are, but this is a personal grudge between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and Ningyu. If you interfere, It's going against the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian shouted coldly. Ning Yu can represent Danwu College, but can you represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? Opposite Hu Jian, the old man said with a faint smile. Mu Tian's father is the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's fifth Grand Elder. He can naturally represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian said with a cold snort. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Anyway, with me around, you can forget about behaving atrociously in Danwu College. Finished saying this sentence, the old man shut his eyes and did not speak any more. Courting death. The old man's words thoroughly stirred up Hu Jian. Even in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, martial artists who dared to talk to him like this were not many. He did not expect that he ran into a rebuff in Danwu College. Swoosh! With a low roar, Mu Tian instantly dashed out, stirring up gusts of wind around him. Buzz! Wherever Mu Tian passed, the void even emitted a slight tremor. Bang! In the next instant, Mu Tian's fist collided with the old man. After the clash, the two figures rapidly retreated. Judging from the distance they retreated, the old man had the upper hand. Old fart! Although it was only a short exchange, Hu Jian could determine that the old man's strength was slightly stronger than his. It was almost impossible for him to kill the old man. However, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for the old man to kill him. However, just as Hu Jian was about to use his second move, a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered rang out in the area. Hu Jian hurriedly stopped and looked in the direction of the sound. Brat, do you have a death wish? It would have been fine if he did not look, but the moment he did, Hu Jian was on the verge of exploding in anger. In the distance, Ning Yu slapped Mu Tian's face several times, each slap landing on his face. At this moment, Mu Tian's cheeks were extremely swollen, and his head was several times bigger than an ordinary pig's head. Only 100-year-old pig's head could compare to Mu Tian. Of course I want to live. Ning Yu slapped Mu Tian a few more times before stopping. Hu Jian clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard, and he shouted in a deep voice, I think you have a death wish. It's not impossible for me to let Mu Tian go, but I have two requests. Ning Yu said calmly. In fact, when Hu Jian and the old man were fighting, Ning Yu had already learned from Mu Feng about the agreement between the old man and Danwu College. After this attack, the old man would leave Danwu College completely. Based on Hu Jian and Mu Tian's anger, once the old man left, they would definitely start a massacre in Danwu College. Therefore, Ning Yu had to think of a foolproof plan, and the key to this foolproof plan was Mu Tian. Chapter 743. Requirements. Right now, not only was Mu Tian's breathing weak, even his eyes were swollen until he could not see anything. Even if Ning Yu played some tricks on him, he had no way of knowing either. Although Hu Jian was paying attention to Ning Yu, he had to pay attention to the elderly man at all times to prevent the elderly man from sneaking an attack. Reaching their level of strength, the slightest distraction, and they might very well be killed mercilessly. After all, Ning Yu was a peak grade 9 alchemy master in his previous life. Hence, he chose the safest method, which was to quietly inject a wisp of soul force into Mu Tian's body. In order to prevent Hu Jian from discovering any inklings, Ning Yu chose to beat Mu Tian into a pig's head. Firstly, he could vent his anger. Secondly, he could divert attention. State your requirements. Hu Jian forcefully suppressed the rage in his heart and said in a solemn voice. Hu Jian could ignore Pei Wen's death, but Mu Tian could not. Once Mu Tian was killed, he would suffer a calamity too. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to protect Mu Tian. Protecting Mu Tian was his bottom line. As for the injuries on Mu Tian's body, he would slowly settle with Ning Yu in the future. The first request, this is between us. I don't wish for you guys to implicate Danwu College. From today onwards, you guys are not allowed to take half a step into Danwu College, Ningyu said. The second request, take out another 2 million pieces of King-grade essence crystals to redeem Mu Tian. Hearing these two requests of Ningyu, Hu Jian's expression was very ugly. The second request was not a problem to him at all. 2 million pieces of King-grade essence crystals, he could take it out easily. The first request made him very angry. In Hu Jian's heart, Ningyu would be killed by him sooner or later. Even if he ran to the ends of the world, it would not work. If he agreed to Ningyu's first request, and Ningyu hid in Danwu College for the rest of his life, wouldn't he suffer a loss? Suffering a loss was a small matter. If demonic thoughts were left in his heart, it would have a huge impact on him, impacting the Supreme Realm. One could say that if the demonic thoughts in his heart were not resolved, he could forget about impacting the Supreme Realm for the rest of his life. I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, I won't stay at Danwu College forever. Naturally, Ningyu knew what Hu Jian was thinking. He said faintly, I will leave Danwu College in 3 to 7 days. To be honest, Ningyu felt very helpless. He knew that he couldn't push them too hard. Otherwise, they would be the ones to suffer. Sigh, my strength is still too low. Ningyu looked at the old man in midair and sighed. All right. Just because of what you said, I'll agree to your 2 requests. Hu Jian flicked his sleeves and a storage bag flew out, flying towards Ningyu. Hu Jian wasn't afraid that Ningyu would go back on his word because he knew that Ningyu wouldn't dare to. Ningyu was definitely afraid that he would contact the people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. But Ningyu grabbed the storage pouch firmly and inspected it for a moment before tossing it into his storage ring. Here you go. After that, Ningyu kicked Mu Tian's butt, sending him flying out. Woo woo. Mu Tian couldn't even tell his nose from his mouth. All he could do was let out a whimper. Humph. Ningyu, remember what you said. 3 to 7 days at least. Hu Jian caught Mu Tian and said coldly, if I don't see you in 7 days, don't blame me for going back on our agreement. After saying that, Hu Jian tore through the void and disappeared with the severely injured Mu Tian. The people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple have appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. It seems like it's not safe for them to stay in the Great Xia Kingdom anymore. I have to inform them and ask them to leave as soon as possible. After Hu Jian left, the old man's expression was extremely grave. The third chance was already used up in Danwu College, and there was naturally no need for the old man to stay. He tore through the void and vanished in a blink of the eye. When he saw the old man vanishing, Mu Feng just stood up and slumped back onto the ground. Dean Mu, distribute these King-grade essence crystals and seal up Danwu College. Without my permission, no one is to leave the college. Ningyu took out a storage pouch from his bosom, which contained 2 million royal-grade origin crystals, and passed it to Mu Feng. We cannot accept these King-grade essence crystals. Mu Feng knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. Just take it. They are Mu Tian's compensation to you. Ningyu's tone was unquestionable. In addition, try not to let anyone else know about the things that happened here. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Since Ningyu already said it like this, it would be a little unreasonable for Mu Feng to still decline. Keeping the storage bag, Mu Feng said in a clear voice, Ningyu's strength is obvious to everyone. I hereby announce that in the next month, Ningyu will assume the position of the acting dean of Danwu College. Whoosh. Mu Feng's appointment was absolutely shocking. Letting a junior assume the position of acting dean, this was the first time in history. But the strength that Ningyu displayed was indeed competent for the position of Danwu College's dean. In addition to the 2 million King-grade essence crystals that Ningyu generously took out, there was actually no one who objected for a moment. Dean Mu, letting me assume the position of dean, maybe. Ningyu did not expect that Mu Feng would let him be the dean, and he himself was a little dumbfounded. Let you be the dean, then be the dean. What's with all the nonsense? Mu Feng said unyieldingly. All right then, I'll temporarily be the acting dean for a month. After a month, I'll return the dean position to you. Ning Yu knew Mu Feng's temper. He said helplessly, in the next 7 days, I'm going to the pill cavern to cultivate. If there's anything, contact me immediately. As he spoke, Ning Yu took out a crystal ball and separated a wisp of soul force into it. As long as I crush the crystal ball, I'll come out of the pill cavern immediately. Swoosh. Leaving these words, Ning Yu tore the void and flew towards the pill cavern first. Behind Ning Yu, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast followed closely. As for Ouyangluan, he was requested by Ning Yu to stay behind to be in charge of Danwu College's safety. Elder Zhao, go seal off Danwu College. Before Ning Yu exits seclusion, no one is allowed to enter or leave. Seeing that Ning Yu disappeared, Mu Feng began to issue orders. The rest of you, come to my side to collect your King-grade essence crystals. Everyone has the same amount. Whoosh. Hearing Mu Feng's words, the surrounding students and mentors all revealed heated expressions. 2 million King-grade essence crystals, and there were only 30 to 40 people present. Converting it, everyone would get 50 to 60,000 pieces. In the past, it was very difficult for them to earn 50 to 60,000 pieces of King-grade essence crystals in their entire lives. Now, with a word from Ning Yu, they would get their share. Hence, the numerous students and mentors would definitely support Ning Yu. While everyone was distributing the King-grade essence crystals, in a dense forest outside the capital, Russell. Suddenly, several figures tore through the void and landed in an empty area in the dense forest. Boom! The moment these figures landed, an abnormally terrifying aura instantly soared into the sky. If someone was in the surroundings, they would definitely discover that these martial artists' cultivation was very high. Among the 30 martial artists, the one with the lowest cultivation was at the half-step manifestation realm. Even the black-robed man in the lead had his aura surging out explosively. Peak late-stage manifestation realm. Chapter 744. Malevolence, Sect Master, when will we attack the capital? An early-stage manifestation realm cultivator beside the black-robed cultivator asked carefully. There's no hurry. You've just advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm not long ago. Stabilize your cultivation first. The black-robed martial artist waved his hand and said, Corpse Berserk has already gone to the capital ahead of us. You guys should stabilize your cultivation while waiting for good news from Corpse Berserk. Sect Master, although Corpse Maniac is the second heavenly king of the Corpse Insect, his cultivation is also at the early stage of the manifestation realm. The warrior at the early stage of the manifestation realm said, You guys are only responsible for stabilizing your cultivation. Don't think about anything else. The black-robed cultivator interrupted the early stage manifestation realm cultivator and said in a deep voice, We'll leave immediately in 2 days and flatten the capital. Yes. Hearing the black-robed martial artist's words, the surrounding martial artists responded in unison. More than 30 pinnacle experts answered in unison. Their voices resounded through the heavens and into the distance. Whoosh! What these corpse sect cultivators didn't know was that their loud voices had attracted the attention of 2 cultivators not far away. Compared to these 2 martial artists, the black-robed martial artist's strength was not much different. Because the cultivation of these 2 martial artists was also at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm. They should be people from the Corpse sect. One of the 2 cultivators said, Should we deal with them? With our strength, even if we can capture all of them in one fell swoop, it will consume too much of our strength. The gains do not make up for the losses. Another slightly fatter cultivator said, If I'm not wrong, these cultivators should be the top fighting force of the Corpse Sect's branch. We can take advantage of the fact that their headquarters is empty to strike them. Good idea. The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, "According to my observation, these people from the corpse sect should be going to besiege the capital." The slightly plump martial artist continued, "There's no time to lose. Let's set off as soon as possible. When the time comes, we can still rush back to watch the show." Whoosh, whoosh. These two martial artists left as soon as they said they would, without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Ningyu had no idea what was happening outside the capital. At that moment, Ningyu had already entered the pill cave of Danwu College. Woof, woof. As soon as Ningyu entered the pill cave, he heard two dogs barking. Needless to say, two dogs were barking. Sure enough, Ningyu looked up and saw that the Dark Emperor and Furball were neck and neck. The heaven-devouring hound is indeed heaven-defying. How long has it been? And it has already recovered to its peak. Ningyu sighed softly as he sensed the auras emanating from the Dark Emperor and Furball. It was not surprising that he felt that Ningyu. In such a short time, the Dark Sovereign and Furball had not only recovered to their peak condition, but their strength had even improved. Even if it was him, he wouldn't dare to say that he could reach this level. Chun is. Ningyu first looked at the Dark Emperor and Furball, then at the sky above their heads. Ning, ding, king. 2. King. King. Ding. Ning 10 king. One had to know that Ningyu had left the flower bud behind before he left the pill cavern. Ningyu, I know you are looking for the world, you are looking for that thing. Follow me, King said when he saw Ningyu's dark expression. Silver-winged dragon, twin-horned beast. Find a place to recover. I have something to do. Ningyu also didn't want the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to know that he had the branch of the world tree. He first gave a few instructions, then followed the Dark Emperor's guidance and flew into the distance. Remember, you owe each of us 2 Xingyang pills. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, the silver-winged dragon shouted. And a rebirth pill. Twin-horned beast added. Swoosh. Ningyu was focused on the branch of the world tree. Naturally, he did not reply to the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Along the way, Ningyu asked King what was going on. After you left, we tried our best to devour the light spots to recover. The Dark Emperor explained, just as we recovered to our peak state, a huge white speck of light tore through the void and appeared beside us. In order to protect us, the flower bud forcefully fought with the white speck of light. In the end, the white light spot was defeated and fled into the depths of the pill cave. Damn it. This is bad. There is a powerful pill puppet in the depths of the pill cave. Ningyu cursed. Although Ningyu was confident in the flower bud's devouring ability, he had never been to the depths of the pill cave. There might be a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. The flower bud only had 4 petals. There were still 4 petals that had yet to bloom. When devouring by day and the rest, Ningyu already knew that the flower bud's devouring ability would grow stronger as the petals bloomed. If all 8 petals were in full bloom, Ningyu would not be worried. That was because the flower bud could fight against a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. Now that the flower bud only had 4 petals, it might not be able to defeat a late manifestation realm pill puppet. Faster! Worried that the flower bud would encounter danger, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his vital energy to increase his speed. Ningyu's speed had increased a lot after advancing to the yin-yang intermediate stage. Now that he forcefully increased his speed, the Dark Emperor and Furball could not keep up. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Dark Emperor and Furball were not idiot. They turned into a blur and entered the storage ring. Chi-chi! The pill cave was huge. It was so huge that Ningyu had flown for half an hour and had yet to reach the deepest part. However, as Ningyu ventured deeper into the pill cave, the white and golden light spots around him gradually increased and became denser. In the end, the light spots completely blocked his path. Solitaire! Helpless, Ningyu could only take out the red demon's sword and slash out. Whoosh! An astonishing sword wave surged out, and the light spots in front of him were scattered. Just like that, Ningyu slashed out every once in a while. When he slashed out for the 50th time, the area in front of him suddenly opened up. The area in front of him suddenly opened up, but Ningyu's expression completely darkened. This was because Ningyu saw that the flower bud was trapped in an array formation in midair, not far away from him. Several huge light spots guarded around the flower bud, injecting energy into the array formation. Refine the flower bud. The goal of these light spots was very clear, and that was to refine the flower bud. Damn it! Before Ningyu could say anything, the Dark Emperor and Furball rushed out from the storage ring to rescue the flower bud. Hold on. How could Ningyu allow the Dark Emperor and Furball to mess around? He reached out and grabbed the Dark Emperor and Furball tightly before saying in a low voice, "Come out. If I'm not wrong, you should be the most powerful person in the Pill Cave, the Evil King. I didn't expect you to even know my name. You are indeed not simple." As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, the space in front of him rippled, and then a young woman in purple clothes slowly walked out from within. The young woman was around 20 years old. She wore a purple robe and had beautiful hair. Chapter 745. Purple Aura. Ningyu was not attracted by the young woman in front of him. Because Ningyu knew that everything was an illusion, everything was fabricated. What one heard might not be true, and what one saw might not be true. Jindei said that Evil King was the strongest pill puppet in the Pill Cave, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of creation. Now it seemed that Jindei was definitely lying. Because the aura of Evil King Purple Spirit in front of him was not the late stage of creation, but the peak of creation. I have to think of a way to save the flower bud. Ningyu's eyes turned, thinking of a countermeasure. Ningyu was very clear about his own situation. His current strength was not Evil King Purple Spirit's match. However, Ningyu did not give up. Since Evil King Purple Spirit did not attack him immediately, it meant that there were two possibilities. First, Evil King Purple Spirit was afraid of him. Of course, this possibility was very small. Second, Evil King Purple Spirit had a favor to ask of him. This possibility was very high. Thinking of this, Ningyu decided to test Evil King Purple Spirit, and said calmly, "Evil King Purple Spirit, tell me your request. What will make you release the flower bud?" It's easy to talk to smart people. Evil King Purple Spirit laughed lightly and said, "My request is not high. As long as you can successfully bring me out of the Pill Cave, I will release the flower bud." Bring you out of the Pill Cave? Ningyu raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Evil King Purple Spirit to make such a request. Pill puppets were intelligent beings born from the Pill Cave, and they had a powerful devouring ability. If they left the Pill Cave, it was very likely that they would cause unpredictable danger to the outside world. "That's right, bring me out of the Pill Cave." Evil King Purple Spirit nodded. "I'm afraid it will be very difficult. I only have the cultivation of the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm. Even if I promise you, I do not have the strength." Ningyu shook his head and said, "Unless my cultivation rises to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm, or even the peak of Yin-Yang realm, then there will be a sliver of a possibility of bringing you out of the Pill Cave. That's simple. I don't have anything else, but I have a lot of energy spots." Evil Monarch Violet Spirit waved his hand, and several huge specks of light appeared in front of Ningyu. Some were white, some were gold, and there were more than 10 of them. "Your cultivation is at the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm, and your soul force is at the late stage of level 6. I'll give you 2 days to improve your cultivation to the point where you can take me out of the Elixir Cave. Otherwise, I'll swallow the flower bud and you'll die too. Voila!" As soon as he finished speaking, Violet Spirit's eyes turned cold. He directly tore through the void and disappeared. When the evil King Violet spirit disappeared, the flower bud was also taken away, disappearing from the world. Remember, you only have 2 days. In order to remind Ningyu, after evil spirit King Violet spirit disappeared, a voice still rang out in this area. Woof woof! After evil King Violet spirit left, Furball suddenly broke free from Ningyu's grasp and flew into the air. Furball! Holy shit! Seeing Furball fly out, Ningyu instinctively wanted to stop him. However, when Ningyu saw Furball's actions, he opened his mouth wide and was speechless. Furball did not want to fight evil King Violet spirit to the death. Instead, he was busy devouring the specks of light in the air. When evil King Violet spirit left, he did not take the dozen or so huge specks of light in the air with him. The intelligence of these dozen or so specks of light had already been wiped out by evil King Violet spirit, and all that was left was pure energy and soul force. The origin chi contained in each speck of light was comparable to Jean Dei and the others. Ningyu, let go of me. I'm going to King devour the specks of light too. Seeing Furball begin to devour the specks of light, the Dark Emperor shouted, as if the specks of light would be devoured by Furball if he was a step slower. Ningyu's face was full of black lines. It was not that Ningyu did not want Furball and the Dark Emperor to devour the specks of light, but Ningyu was not sure if evil King Violet spirit had done anything to these specks of light. Just think about it, if evil King Violet spirit had done something to these specks of light, wouldn't it be a wasted effort? Not only would they have to bring evil King Violet spirit out of the pill cavern, they would also have to be under his control. Furball, come back. Ningyu took a deep breath and berated. It's not that you can't devour the specks of light, but you have to wait for me to inspect them before you can devour them. Woof woof. Hearing Ningyu's words, Furball looked up to the sky and barked twice, expressing his dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction was dissatisfaction, but Furball had no intention of disobeying Ningyu. He obediently returned to Ningyu's side and lay down, his eyes staring straight at the specks of light, afraid that they would be completely devoured by Ningyu. Since Furball had become obedient, the Dark Emperor naturally had no choice but to stay where he was. Whoosh! The Dark Emperor and Furball both stopped. Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground, arriving beside the dozen or so specks of light in the blink of an eye. He released his perception and carefully inspected them. Just a martial artist at the middle stage of the Yin-Yang realm. I don't believe you can discover anything. While Ningyu was inspecting the specks of light in the void, evil King Violet Spirit said darkly, "This body of yours is not bad. Once I successfully leave the pill cavern, I will possess you and enjoy your body." If Ningyu was beside him, he would definitely be very surprised. Because evil King Violet Spirit was not a young woman, nor was he a beautiful woman, but a tall and sturdy man. The reason why evil King Violet Spirit had disguised himself as a woman was largely to confuse Ningyu and make Ningyu lower his guard. After staying in the pill cavern for so long, evil King Violet Spirit's intelligence had basically reached the peak, and he was abnormally cunning. There's something fishy going on. Evil King Violet Spirit was still mocking Ningyu, but Ningyu had already discovered something unusual. I have to say, evil King Violet Spirit is very smart. Seeing a wisp of purple gas hidden in the specks of light, Ningyu's lips curled up slightly, and he thought to himself, "Since you want to control me so much, I'll beat you at your own game and see what tricks you're playing." Ningyu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow as he controlled the storage ring to erupt with a suction force, sucking all the dozen or so specks of light in the air into the storage ring. Sun Jiangwen, activate the array formation and expel that wisp of purple gas from the specks of light. Ningyu knew his own capabilities. Although he had discovered evil King Violet Spirit's tricks, there was no way to expel the purple gas as soon as possible. Once it dragged on for too long, it would most likely attract evil King Violet Spirit's attention. With Sun Jiangwen's help, everything would be easily resolved. Buzz buzz. Sun Jiangwen's movements were very fast, especially after he had the 2 million royal-grade essence crystals provided by Ningyu. Things that required several hours in the past could be done in a few minutes now. Swish, swish, swish. 5 minutes later, several huge specks of light rushed out from the storage ring. These specks of light were divided into 4 portions. 2 portions were kept by Ningyu, and the other 2 portions were devoured by the Dark Emperor and Furball. Of the 2 portions of specks that Ningyu left behind, one was a white speck of light, and the other was a golden speck of light. Inside the white speck of light was pure essence chi, and inside the golden speck of light was pure soul force. Devour. Chapter 746. Eruption Boom. As soon as Ningyu swallowed the white speck of light, he felt as if the speck of light exploded in his mouth. Violent yuan qi spread in all directions. Spirit transformation art. Ningyu wouldn't miss this rare opportunity. He immediately used the spirit transformation art and started to absorb the violent yuan qi in his mouth. Following the guidance of the spirit transformation art, the yuan qi in the speck of light entered Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Ningyu wasn't in a hurry. He had just advanced to the middle stage of yin-yang realm. If he rushed to the late stage of yin-yang realm immediately, it wouldn't be good for his future cultivation. Therefore, Ningyu decided to take it slow. Since there were still 2 days, there was no point in rushing. Bang! Ningyu wasn't in a hurry, but the Dark Emperor was impatient. With so many white specks of light and so much pure yuan qi, the Dark Emperor definitely didn't want to miss it. After devouring all this pure yuan qi, I can easily advance to the late stage of yin-yang realm. The Dark Emperor chuckled. He didn't care about the consequences and directly swallowed the light spots that Ningyu gave him. Fortunately, the Dark Emperor was a purple gold sky swallowing dog. Otherwise, his stomach would definitely explode from swallowing so much yuan qi at once. The Dark Emperor didn't need to refine the yuan qi himself like Ningyu. After swallowing all the yuan qi, he sat on the ground and entered a dormant state. Furball was also a purple gold sky swallowing dog, so his bloodline power was much denser than the Dark Emperor's. The most important thing was that Furball had awakened his bloodline power and awakened 20% of it. The sky swallowing dog race had a special characteristic. The speed at which they devoured and refined yuan qi would become faster and faster with the awakening of their bloodline power. If they awakened 100% of their bloodline power, they could easily devour and refine all these specks of light. Even so, Furball's speed was many times faster than the Dark Emperor's. Half a day later, bang! A muffled sound came from Furball's little head. Woof woof! After the muffled sound, Furball revealed a look of surprise. This was because at this moment, Furball had broken through the shackles of the middle stage of yin-yang stage, advancing to the late stage of yin-yang stage. F***ck, I need to speed up. Although the Dark Emperor was in a dormant state, he had split out a wisp of his perception to keep an eye on Furball's movements. When the Dark Emperor saw that Furball had advanced to yin-yang late stage, the Dark Emperor quickly retracted his senses and focused on breaking through. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye 2 days had passed. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the Dark Emperor's eyes sprang open as an aura comparable to Furball's rose. Yin-yang late stage. After 2 days of devouring and refining, the Dark Emperor successfully advanced to the yin-yang late stage. On the other hand, Ningyu was still in the intermediate yin-yang realm. His aura was stable, showing no signs of breaking through. Why is there no reaction from Ningyu? Has he encountered a bottleneck? Looking at Ningyu's appearance, the Dark Emperor asked doubtfully. Woof woof. Furball nodded, seemingly agreeing with the Dark Emperor's words. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a red flying sword flew out from Ningyu's body. Red Skin, you came at the right time. You should know about Ningyu's situation. Tell us what's going on." Looking at the red flying sword in midair, the Dark Emperor said hurriedly. Ningyu did not encounter a bottleneck. Everything is normal. The Red Fiend did not transform into his human form and was still within the Red Fiend sword. That's impossible. Furball and I have both advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. Although Ningyu is much weaker than us, there should be some movement. The Dark Emperor said doubtfully. Furthermore, the 2-day agreement is coming soon. That purple spirit. Before the Dark Emperor could finish his sentence, his mouth opened slightly as he stared at Ningyu, who was not far away. Whoosh! Ningyu slammed his hands on the ground and leaped up. Boom! 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 In midair, an extremely terrifying aura burst out from Ningyu's body. Puss! Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Ningyu, the Dark Emperor's face was filled with fear even though he had advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. This is Yin-Yang late stage or Yin-Yang peak stage. Or should I say, half-step manifestation realm. The reason why the Dark Emperor could not determine Ningyu's true cultivation level was because the aura that Ningyu was emitting was simply too terrifying. It was so terrifying that he did not dare to get close. Judging from the aura alone, Ningyu was at Yin-Yang late stage. However, judging from the aura, Ningyu was a genuine Yin-Yang peak stage, and could even be compared to a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Gulp. Not only was the Dark Emperor surprised, but the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword also swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Ningyu's state was indeed very bewildering. Unless one was a few levels stronger than Ningyu, they would not be able to discover Ningyu's true cultivation level. Swoosh! The aura that emanated from Ningyu's body only lasted for a second. After that, Ningyu retracted the aura back into his body. Late stage Yin-Yang peak stage, soul power of pinnacle grade 6. Feeling the violent fluctuation of primordial qi in his sea of consciousness and the strength of the soul power in his body, Ningyu nodded in satisfaction. 2 days wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. After 2 days of dormancy, Ningyu finally made a breakthrough at the last moment. Not only did his soul power advance to pinnacle grade 6, but his cultivation had also advanced to late-stage Yin-Yang peak stage. He was only a small step away from pinnacle Yin-Yang peak stage. In just 3 days, Ningyu made consecutive breakthroughs from early-stage Yin-Yang peak stage to late-stage Yin-Yang peak stage. Furthermore, his soul power had advanced from early-stage grade 6 to pinnacle grade 6. If outsiders were to know about this advancement speed, they would probably be dumbfounded. One must know that even Mu Tian, the first-rate genius of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, could not achieve this. Buzz. With Ningyu's advancement success, Evil Monarch Violet Spirit naturally appeared from the void. Looking at Evil Monarch Violet Spirit in front of him, Ningyu said indifferently, "This body of yours is not attractive to me. It's better to be yourself. I'll let you show off for a while. Once we leave the pill cave, I'll let you know what cruelty is." Evil Monarch Violet Spirit snorted in his heart, but on the surface, he said, "Not simple indeed. It seems that your current strength is enough to bring me out of the pill cave." As she spoke, Evil Monarch Violet Spirit transformed from a young girl into a burly man. Evil Monarch Violet Spirit, I would like to ask, how many Creation Realm pill puppets are there in the pill cave? Ningyu did not leave the pill cave immediately. Currently, the Creation Realm pill puppets in the pill cave no longer exist, but after a period of time, Creation Realm pill puppets will be born again, Evil Monarch Violet Spirit said. What do you mean? Ningyu asked doubtfully. Since I'm going to leave the pill cave, there's no harm in telling you. Chapter 747. Here it comes. I'm not afraid to tell you that the reason I was able to advance to the peak of the manifestation realm is because I devoured all the light spots that were ejected from the void last time. I didn't even touch the slightest bit of the other pill puppets, Evil King Violet Spirit said proudly. If that's the case, if you devour all the light spots that are ejected next time, won't you be able to advance to the Supremacy Realm? Ningyu said in surprise. The Supremacy Realm? Hee, you're thinking too simply. Evil King Violet Spirit smiled faintly and said, although the void will eject light spots every once in a while, at the same time, there might be even more powerful pill puppets appearing in the void. Cut the crap and quickly bring me out of the pill cavern. Otherwise, I'll devour your flower bud. After saying these words, Evil King Violet Spirit seemed a little impatient. He split his perception to control the flower bud and said in a deep voice, don't think of playing any tricks. As long as you dare to have any crooked thoughts, I'll immediately destroy the flower bud. How could I dare to play tricks? The flower bud is in your hands. I'll naturally be well behaved for fear of harming the innocent. Ningyu said. That's right. I should make you hold back for fear of harming the innocent. Evil King Violet Spirit pondered for a moment before exploding out. Evil King Violet Spirit's speed was very fast. In almost the blink of an eye, he arrived beside the Dark Emperor and Furball. Woof woof. You're courting death. Seeing Evil King Violet Spirit appear beside them, the Dark Emperor and Furball both shouted. Noisy. In Evil King Violet Spirit's heart, the Dark Emperor and Furball were just small fries who couldn't do much. But it was precisely these small fries who couldn't do much that were Ningyu's friends. Evil King Violet Spirit shouted in a low voice. A monstrous pressure was unleashed from his body and pressed down on the Dark Emperor and Furball. The Dark Emperor and Furball were only at the yin-yang late stage. Being suppressed by the aura of the manifestation realm, they only struggled for 3 seconds before becoming well-behaved. Stay with the flower bud for now. Once I leave the pill cave, I'll let you go immediately. Evil King Violet Spirit placed the Dark Emperor, Furball, and the flower bud together before turning to look at Ningyu. I'm Danchi, so it's not very realistic for me to leave through the pill cavern's exit. I can only settle for the next best thing, tearing open the void and leaving. Tearing the void? I don't have that ability. Ningyu wanted to see what Evil King Violet Spirit had up his sleeves. Without batting an eyelid, he said, as long as you can tear the void, I have no objections. Haha, you will definitely leave the task of tearing the void to me. You just need to let me enter your body the moment I leave. Evil King Violet Spirit laughed. You are a human, I can hide a lot of things from you by hiding in your body. The fox's tail has been exposed. No wonder he wanted to do something in the light spot. It turns out that he wanted to enter my body. If I'm not wrong, he definitely wants to take over my body. At this moment, Ningyu thought of a possibility. Generally, as long as a martial artist with a high cultivation base could erase the soul force and spiritual intelligence of a martial artist with a low cultivation base, there was a certain possibility of succeeding in taking over the body. There's no time to lose. You try to tear the void first. I'll rest and try to succeed in one go. Ningyu definitely wouldn't expose Evil King Violet Spirit. He needed to use this period of time to plan properly and prevent himself from failing miserably. Alright. Seeing that Ningyu didn't have much of a reaction, Evil King Violet Spirit let out a low roar. Immediately after, violent yuan qi fluctuations appeared on his wrist, constantly bombarding the void. Qi. 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 Following Evil King Violet Spirit's bombardment, the originally quiet void suddenly became lively. Although Evil King Violet Spirit was a peak creation realm Danchi, it would be extremely difficult for him to destroy the pill cavern and the void outside without an hour or two. While Evil King Violet Spirit bombarded the void, Ningyu split his perception to pay attention to the situation around him while secretly circulating the spiritual art and began to devour and refine the royal grade origin crystal. Shwa. 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 In the evening, in a certain void in the capital, suddenly, several figures tore the void and appeared. Sect Master, do we start killing here or go to Danwu College first? Among these martial artists, an early-stage creation realm martial artist asked. Let's go to Danwu College first, the black-robed martial artist called Sect Master said in a deep voice. The black-robed martial artist was the sect master of the corpse sect. At this time, the black-robed martial artist was very angry, extremely angry. 2 days and 2 nights passed. He didn't even receive any news from Corpse Maniac, let alone good news. The black-robed martial artist and Corpse Maniac had said that regardless of whether they could take down Danwu College or not, they had to send back news at any time. Since Corpse Maniac didn't send back any news, it meant that he was most likely in danger. Alright, let's start with Danwu College first, the early-stage creation realm martial artist said in a clear voice. Bang! As soon as the early-stage creation realm martial artist said the word kill, the black-robed martial artist kicked his butt and said angrily, kill a few times. When we reach Danwu College, you all have to listen to my orders. The black-robed martial artist was very careful. This time, he had brought the top martial artists of the corpse sect. If they were ambushed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Even a middle-stage creation realm corpse maniac could be killed. It was conceivable that the 30 peak experts he brought would not have much of an advantage. Let's go. In the next moment, the black-robed martial artist gave a low grunt and took the lead to dash towards the Danwu Academy. Behind the black-robed martial artist, 30 peak experts followed closely. Wait! When he was less than a kilometer away from Danwu College, the black-robed martial artist abruptly stopped in midair. Did I judge wrongly? The black-robed martial artist divided a bit of his perception and carefully probed the surroundings. After a while, the black-robed martial artist withdrew his perception and murmured, "Is there something wrong with my perception?" In fact, it was no wonder that the black-robed martial artist was so careful. He did feel a terrifying aura just now. However, this aura disappeared in a flash, making it difficult for him to grasp it. In addition to the main entrance of Danwu College, there are 4 other entrances. Leave 2 peak yin-yang realm martial artists with me. The other 28 martial artists will kill their way into Danwu College from the other 4 entrances. The black-robed martial artist pondered for a moment and said coldly, "No matter who you meet, kill without mercy." Crash! After the black-robed martial artist gave the order, the experts of the corpse sect behind him dispersed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Let's go. Seeing that everyone had disappeared, the black-robed martial artist moved toward the main entrance of Danwu College. Elder Hu, do you know who these martial artists are? Are they the helpers Ning you found? What the black-robed martial artist didn't know was that when he was walking toward the main entrance of Danwu College, Mu Tian said in a deep voice in an area in the void. From the aura emitted by these martial artists, it can be determined that they are from the corpse sect. Hu Jian shook his head and said lightly, "I have investigated the distribution of forces in the Great Xia Kingdom. The corpse sect has been coveting Danwu College and the Great Xia Kingdom's royal family for a long time. So, they are not the helpers Ning you found." Chapter 748. The Prelude to the Storm. Chapter 748. Boom. In the evening, the originally quiet capital of the Xia Kingdom was instantly set ablaze with a deafening explosion. Whoosh! Many martial artists left their homes and came to the streets of the capital. If I'm not wrong, the sound should have come from Danwu College, an early primal core martial artist murmured as he stared in the direction of the explosion. You indeed guessed correctly. The explosion came from the Danwu Academy, a middle-stage primal core martial artist said beside this early-stage primal core martial artist. Could it be that someone dares to make a move against Danwu College? On the other side, a peak primal core martial artist thought of a possibility. His eyes widened as he said in a low voice, "Whoosh." The peak primal core martial artist's voice had just landed, and it caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The Dan Wu Academy was a colossus. In the Great Xia Kingdom, apart from the imperial family going all out, the other factions were unable to shake it even a little bit. At this time, which force had the guts to make a move against Danwu College? No, no, no. In the Xia Kingdom, other than the royal family, there is another force that can compete with Danwu College. They even have the chance to eliminate Danwu College. Suddenly, the peak primal core martial artist who had just spoken shouted, "Hiss!" The words of the pinnacle of the primal core stage immediately caused the surrounding onlookers to suck in a cold breath. No one was stupid. They naturally knew which force the peak primal core martial artist was talking about. The corpse sect. In the Xia Kingdom, if Danwu College and the royal family were the super forces, then the corpse sect was the super force. Even if Danwu College and Danwu College joined forces, they might not be able to compete with the corpse sect. Smack. Just as the crowd was feeling afraid, in the conference hall of Danwu College, Mu Feng slammed his palm on the seat beneath him. Mu Feng was furious. Recently, Danwu College had been on a bad streak. All kinds of things happened one after another. First, when they went to the Coiling Dragon Ridge, they were chased by the two heavenly kings of the Yin Corpse sect. Fortunately, Ningyu appeared to help, otherwise they would have most likely died. After returning to Danwu College, he met the second heavenly king of the Corpse Yin sect, Corpse Maniac. After dealing with the zombie, Chang Kun brought two peak experts from the Blood God Palace to rebel. After settling a series of matters, he met Mu Tian, the freak. Most importantly, there was a martial artist at the peak of the creation realm behind Mu Tian. Fortunately, these matters were resolved one by one without paying too much of a price. Now, someone had launched an attack on Danwu College. Unlucky year. To the Danwu Academy, it was truly an unlucky year. Forefather Jiuemo, tell us about the current situation. Although he was angry, Mu Feng was not an impulsive fledgling. Ningyu was in closed-door cultivation in the Pill Cave, so he could only shoulder the safety of Danwu College by himself. The burden on his shoulders was very heavy, and the slightest bit of carelessness could cause Danwu College to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Therefore, Mu Feng forced himself to calm down, to the point that it was scary. There are a total of 5 entrances to Danwu College. Apart from the main entrance, the other 4 entrances are all being attacked by mysterious people. Forefather Jiuemo took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "According to reliable sources, the mysterious people are from the Corpse Yin sect." Swish. Hearing Forefather Jiuemo's words, the elders and mentors in the hall all revealed a look of horror. Attacking from 4 entrances at the same time, it seemed that the Corpse Yin sect's forces were very big this time. Everyone, don't relax. I have already activated the arrays at the 4 entrances. It will be difficult for the Corpse Yin sect to attack Danwu College for at least an hour. Seeing that everyone's morale had dropped, Forefather Jiuemo said in a clear voice, "What we need to do is to use this hour to adjust to our best state as soon as possible. I have checked that the Corpse Yin sect has sent a total of about 30 cultivators. As long as everyone works together, we will definitely be able to catch them all." Mu Feng knew that Forefather Jiuemo's words could only temporarily appease everyone. Once the Corpse Yin sect attacked Danwu College, everyone would be finished. Their top priority now was to contact the other forces in the capital as soon as possible. From the looks of it, the Corpse Yin sect's high-ranking combat power had come out in full force. Just relying on Danwu College was far from enough to deal with the high-ranking combat power of the Corpse Yin sect. Only by allying with the other first-rate forces would they have a chance of survival. Thinking up to here, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the hall and finally fell on Ouyangluan. Ouyangluan was the imperial family's ancestor. As long as the imperial family was willing to help, Danwoo College would be able to hold on for a while. There is no need to say anything else. This matter is not just a matter of Danwoo College, it is a matter of the entire Great Xia country. Without waiting for Mu Feng to speak, Ouyang Luan solemnly said, "There is indeed a mysterious team in the imperial family, but that mysterious team only listens to my orders. They will not listen to anyone else. Therefore, I need to leave Danwoo College and return to the imperial." Rumble! Before Ouyang Luan's voice fell, another heaven-shaking rumble sounded. Not good. Old Ancestor Jiuemo, bring everyone to guard the other 4 entrances. I'll go to the main entrance to have a look. Hearing the rumble, Mu Feng's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly ordered before tearing the void apart and flying toward the main entrance of Danwoo College. Damn it! Mu Feng's departure gave Ouyang Luan hope to leave Danwoo College. However, just as he was about to tear the void apart, a familiar voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ouyang Luan cursed inwardly as he changed his direction and flew toward the direction that was designated in his mind. The departure of Mu Feng and Ouyang Luan caused the elders and instructors in the hall to look at each other. They did not know what to do. Seeing everyone in a daze, old Ancestor Jiuemo scolded, "What are you all standing there for? Everyone, split into 4 groups and guard the other 4 entrances no matter what." Hearing old Ancestor Jiuemo's scolding, everyone did not dare to be negligent. They orderly split into 4 groups and flew toward the 4 entrances. As for old Ancestor Jiuemo, he chose to go to the main entrance of Danwoo College. Old Ancestor Jiuemo was a half-step manifestation stage martial artist. His perception was very strong. At the main entrance of Danwoo College, he could sense an extremely powerful aura. This aura had even reached the mastery stage of the manifestation stage. Mu Feng's cultivation base was only at the early stage of the manifestation stage. If he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist, he would definitely die. Old Ancestor Jiuemo muttered to himself as he flew, "I hope the old ancestors from the other first-rate forces in the capital will realize the severity of the problem." Although Danwoo College had another powerhouse at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage other than Mu Feng, even a martial artist at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage would not have a good ending if he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist from the corpse sect. Moreover, the corpse sect was an expert in playing with corpses. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.